Good morning, Australia and US, of course. Good evening.
How's it going?
Good.
I am excited to be here today. It's been a minute. I feel like all three of us have been together. So I'm looking forward to this conversation. I missed it.
So what are we talking actually about? It's a Q&A session.
We're just hanging
That's
out.
what we came up with.
Well, I asked you to let's reach out to KG.
Yeah, no, he didn't answer.
He didn't answer. Okay.
No,
Yeah,
he didn't answer, unfortunately.
We need to reach more of our colleagues for the streams. I think it is very interesting to see all the information they have, their take, so we get something new added to the conversation.
Absolutely.
Yep. And what I like to ask the audience in the very beginning, hey, what are the alternatives or better programs than StreamYard? We're looking for better quality. We're looking for better streaming options. What is there out there? What we can use? Because so the thing is, StreamYard is really easy. It's very easy to set up. That's the good thing, but the quality is not good.
Yeah, it's
and
very bad.
It's expensive actually.
Yeah,
it's $70 US per month.
That's nuts. That's so expensive.
Yeah, I use it for the streams. I mean, last week I streamed the whole week almost. I mean, that is like every day. And the quality was so bad. I couldn't use my PC because I took my PC apart, so I had to use my phone. But even for the phone, there are some apps that have a lot higher quality. You do have to pay for it. But as you can see, this time I worked on my setup. I always use my phone. Now I'm using my PC. I have this microphone, and I'm using my phone as a webcam. But as you can see, there's like a watermark right here because you have to pay for it.
What is that?
You have to pay for it, so they remove the watermark.
I didn't even notice it till you pointed it out, man.
Where's this watermark coming from? What software?
Yeah, this software is the OBS. It's called DroidCam, and it works with OBS. But now there's another software that works.
You should have a Mac because then you just plug it in, or
your phone. You
actually,
plug in your phone, it works.
That's something I wanted to bring up.
It works. No, you don't even need a USB cable. You can actually Airstream it if you want, but then you have a delay, obviously. Or you just plug it in with USB-C to the phone, and it's acting as a webcam.
You don't even have to plug it in as a USB-C. It'll just do it wirelessly. But it was interesting. I actually listened to your last live stream, and I was hearing Marcus kind of going on about how he was moving all over to Mac, and then Ariel, you were very
there's no way I will give my money to Apple. Not gonna happen.
No,
and I just
NVIDIA.
I just wanted to kind of, I thought, oh man, I'd love to just jump in on that chat. And I would love to just give you like a MacBook, an iPhone, and an iPad for like a month. And I would bet my money that you would go, man, this is next level.
Look,
if you
I bought
George.
How's it going, George?
Hey, George.
Hello there, greetings to my favorite Apple, Sony, and NVIDIA shows. So Adam is the Xbox shill here, okay?
Look, I bought an iPhone for my dad, actually, $1,000. And I absolutely hate it because they want all your information from the get-go. Give me your phone, give me your account, bank information, all the time, asking you every time you open an app, hey, we want everything from you. And I'm like, no, I don't want to give you anything. I just want to turn it on. It works. That doesn't happen with Android. So the Apple way is make it easy to use. So it is user friendly and all that stuff, but we want all your money. And there are some apps that are free on Android that you have to pay money for it.
Ariel, can I just jump in there, man? Have you ever heard the saying, if something is for free, then you are the product?
Yeah.
Google is notorious for sucking up all your personal private information and using it for big data analytics and advertising. And that's one thing. Yes, you're right. Like Apple does want a lot of your information, but they're not using that or they're basically protecting you. Like all your phones are locked in and protected. Like if it gets stolen, no one can take it without your authorization, those type of things. But Google, the only thing look, there's pros and cons to both. Look, I'm not gonna lie,
absolutely.
I'm on Apple. I often see really new high-end Samsung devices and I'm like, man, that looks sick. But when you kind of get into any ecosystem, like I said, with a MacBook, I've got a Mac Mini, an iPhone, an iPad, they just talk to each other. I can copy text on my iPhone and then just press like paste on my keyboard, and that text or that picture will just paste. Like it's just the way it all talks to each other.
Yeah,
just,
and that's the other thing that you can see it as an advantage, the ecosystem. But I see it as a bad thing, because once they get you, it's now, okay, now you need the tablet, you need the iPhone, you need the
That's
iPad, the
baby.
MacBook Pro, and I'm like, no.
Yeah, but I get your point. But you know, at the other end, if we're talking, and I get this, Apple is not for everyone. The same like Samsung, because their products are just too expensive. And the thing is, I used Android phones like Samsung or whatever for years now. So that's my first personal Apple iPhone. I had to use iPhone for work related stuff or whatever. And we always had iPhone 7, whatever, iPhone, you know, the cheaper models, of course, not the high end. And it was just for work related. I just didn't use it as you can actually use it. And now just the AirDrop function from iPhone to my MacBook is so good. I would always pay this money again.
Yeah.
Full stop.
I mean, again, I have no doubt if I give Apple all my money, it will give me a good experience. But the thing is that it's a closed ecosystem. You know, it's like.
Yeah, but is it? Yeah. It's Google. Google is also a closed ecosystem. If you like, if you be on Google with maps and whatsoever, it's also closed. If you like to have the full functionality of Google, it's closed.
Yeah, you know, I guess what I'm saying, Ariel, is like I have spent a little bit of time, admittedly, not a lot, on the other side. Like I have a Windows PC here. I don't use it. It's more for my server and things like that. I've spent my whole life on Windows PCs. Haven't owned an Android phone in years, but I guess what I would like to see is when was the last time you owned a Mac or you had one ever?
No computers from Apple for me.
Okay, that's I guess that's what I would like to see. I would like to see you have hands-on with one after a month, and then you still come back and say the same thing. I would say you probably wouldn't. You would still probably have some things you don't like, but I definitely think if you spent a good 4 weeks with an iPhone and Apple device, you would probably come back and go, I know what you're talking about.
I have the iPhone 15 Plus from my family. I don't like it at all. I mean, just starting with the camera. With the camera of my phone, I can change the settings. With that, I need to get a third party. Now, Marcus figured out an app that works, like but they want you to pay for a pro version.
That's the will. That it's free. If you like to use the cloud functionality to upload your videos, then you have to pay. But the app is completely free.
Not that one, but there is another app.
I mean, there are 1,000 apps.
Look, that's that they want you to get that one.
I know what you mean. I agree with you. So the Android app, the native app, is in terms of functionality much better. Absolutely, because you can all put in the ISO level, the shutter speed, all this stuff. So I need a third party app. I don't know why iPhone is doing this. Probably because of that. You're absolutely right. But regardless of that, I mean, I don't care.
I mean, I have to say, I do like the quality of the videos that you are making. Absolutely,
they're going to be better. No worries.
Blown
they're going
away.
to be better.
The recording you did with the Spears and Monsell videos, like I see almost no clipping. I'm like, that's unbelievable. How is Apple doing that? I guess that they are processing the highlights so they don't clip.
Yeah.
I think because the thing is, what is impressive is, yes, I can change the settings of the camera so you don't clip the highlights, but now you're crushing blacks. And the impressive thing about those recordings is that you don't crush blacks. I see the shadow detail, and then the highlights are not clipping either. So it's amazing. So I think what they are doing is they are processing the highlights so they don't clip.
So the image quality. So first of all, you can record in Dolby Vision. Okay, it's called HLG Dolby Vision 8.4, whatever. It's not a pure, as I understand, it's not a 12-bit Dolby Vision recording, but it's a 10-bit Dolby Vision H, whatever, blah blah blah. But it looks fantastic. So you can also use the Apple lock functionality, but then you would need to work with LUTs on your editing. I haven't done this, but compared to my camera, what I'm using right now, the Panasonic GH5 S Plus or whatever. So just the body from this camera was $2,500 back then, and I bought this lens for over $1,000. That's the quality right now. But this is SDR. Okay, using this for HDR is crap. Full stop. It doesn't work like that. And it's the thing is, you know, I needed something because I spent so much time with setting up my stuff. You know, I got really tired of doing that because I'm losing so much time. I'm taking my iPhone, put it in, press play. That's it, or record. That's it. That's what I need because I don't have time for this anymore to waste. Do you mind we going to some comments because we have audience? Hey guys. So Yahaya is asking, guys, where can I ask my questions? Here, you can ask it here. Put a Q in front, and then you can ask. And probably we missed a couple of.
I have a question that came up earlier, but cool. We'll go with Classy. Hey, Classy, how you doing, man?
How's it going?
He is doing fine. I had a talk to him yesterday. Very nice, guys. I watch his videos. He's doing great calibration and very deep analysis of TVs. I have had a 4070 Ti Super and now a 5070 Ti and a 5080 to compare. Wow. Upgrading 7080 3D to 9800X 3D as well, doing a different real usage type of review. That's absolutely that's a hell of a setup. I mean, 5080 with a 9800X 3D is smoking. You know,
yeah. And for those of you who don't know his channel, go and check it out. He does some really in-depth analysis. If you're looking for something hardcore, go and check him out.
Absolutely. Well, looking forward to it, man. Congratulations, you got your two. I mean, I don't know why you would want to get two GPUs so close in performance. Probably for the channel, I guess, or maybe you have two PCs.
Ariel, have you got your 5090?
No, man. I've tried. A lot of people send me emails with 5090s. A lot of scalpers, I have to say. I have some people sending me a picture with multiple 5090s for sale, and people are even paying for others to sleep at Micro Center to get the 5090s.
Wow.
But they want, of course, they want more money than what is listed for, and I'm not interested in that.
I'm glad I joined in today because with the G5 coming out, I think if you guys recall in our conversations offline, I showed you that the G5 83-inch is $10,000 in Australia.
I ordered two.
And I got caught up in the hype and I put my G4 for sale. I haven't sold it. And look, if I do sell it, I would consider upgrading, but I had some thoughts on this. I wanted to get some thoughts from you guys and discuss it just because I saw this comment. Danny Cool Swag, hello, I have a G3. Should I wait to upgrade to the G5 or buy a G4? Please help. So I thought that was a very good way to start the conversation. In answer to that question, from my opinion, I wouldn't buy the G5 or G4. The G3 is still such a new TV. And unless you have money to burn, I wouldn't purchase that. But I guess my thoughts I wanted to kind of express to you gentlemen and then get some feedback. For me, I'm always a little bit apprehensive about buying something in its first generation. Hence why I purchased the G4. It was the second generation MLA. You know, there's always, not always, but, you know, generally speaking, there's a few little niggles or something that they really improve on the next gen, something like that. And I guess my thoughts were that in 2024, the G4 was so competitive against a much superior technology QD OLED. And it was so competitive. You know, if you spoke to, I think we had KG on the stream at one point, and he was saying he chose the G4 as his TV. You know, there were areas where the QD OLED was in front, but then there were areas where the G4 just looked so good. And then now we have this tandem OLED primary RGB from LG. And, you know, I'm looking at guys like FOMO, Brian's Tech Therapy. They're all saying G5 is the TV this year. And my mind is like, how is how are all these people who really know what they're talking about saying the G5 is the TV when QD-OLED is obviously a superior technology? Like LG is still being super competitive, or people are selecting this TV above. And so I guess my question is, I actually thought that kind of WOLED had reached its peak. Now they've kind of made some iterations and improved on this. So what's to say if they can beat QD-OLED now with what they have in the next 1 or 2 generations, it's going to continue to outperform or at least match. So I can see, Ariel, you've got something on the tip of your tongue. Let's go, brother.
I think that the explanation is very simple, because Samsung is putting a matte finish on the S95F. It has a One Connect box and probably broken sound plus Samsung quality control. If Samsung puts a glossy finish on that latest generation QD OLED and it doesn't have any issues, it will be far superior. It's not close. Yep. Okay, QD OLED is the superior technology. You will have better screen uniformity, better gradation of colors. It's pure RGB additive colors. It's going to look more correct.
Let me play devil's advocate, but they're not.
But they are not. Yeah, that's the problem. And I agree with them. I mean, I would not buy the S95F without matte finish. I think it's a terrible idea. It's still going to look great.
Yeah, correct. But there's a reason why almost no one is talking about Samsung S95F.
Yeah.
Because it's the same as always. Slightly different according to Classy, but it's a matte finish.
Yeah.
And I told you this, I compared... Back to Apple, sorry. I compared this matte finish, nano texture, whatever you call this retina thing, with the glossy one. And the Apple sales guy, whatever, oh, you have to do the nano, and it's just 230 Australian dollars more, and blah. And I compared it and I said, no, I go with the glossy. I mean, I don't mind the reflections at all, but the color's looking much better to me. Sorry. It is just a little, there's no way... and I'm sitting so I'm using my MacBook now for streaming because it just takes 80 watts instead of 250 watts from this stupid computer. But anyway, this display is fantastic. And there is right now all my studio light on, and of course there is a reflection, but it doesn't matter because this screen is so bright. It's fantastic.
Are you just using your internal webcam and microphone on the MacBook?
The big one. No, I'm here microphone. I'm on. This is superior over the microphone, but I mean, honestly, even the webcam is great.
Yeah. But I think that is a very sad reality. That the matte finish is probably more expensive for Samsung too.
Yeah.
So they're paying more money for something that looks worse and that nobody likes it.
Yeah. I can understand if you sell outdoor TVs, you know what I mean? There's for special bright conditions where they'll try to avoid any reflections. And then outdoor TV, if you just watch sport with your friends or whatever, no one cares about picture quality, Everybody just likes to see the whatever, So that's a reason for a matte finished, but not in a cinema room where you dim the lights anyway. I don't get it.
So can you gentlemen speak to the G5? Because, all right, let's just say they don't have the matte finish. Do you think that that'll just make them not competitive? The QD-OLED would just blow that away?
I would go QD-OLED all day long. No way I would go G5 over an S95F with a matte finish, especially if you go to the service menu. You probably get even more brightness on that S95F.
Bomo, jump in, brother. If you want to come and join us, man. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 50 minutes.
Are you in the gym again, huh?
FOMO has all the futuristic news. With the
he knows the answers.
Yeah, if you want news, FOMO is the place to go. That's where I get most of my information. He just distills it down and makes it into this amazing, content where it's just so easy to listen to. So,
and
brother, if you're available,
he
jump in.
actually saw prototypes. So that the new tech that he's talking about, he's saying that he has seen prototypes evolve. Like it seems like when you go to these CES events, or maybe if you can, if you have good contacts, maybe they will call you and show you something that people have not seen. That would be very exciting to me.
What I know deep down is FOMO knows more than he's allowed to talk about, which is
Of course, Matt is also here, and so Matt, I sent you a text on X. So maybe you got time and can answer this. And he's saying MLA causes issues. So I mean, everybody, almost every calibrator I talk to is saying the same thing. MLA is causing issues, and I see this every day on my G4, unfortunately. But
I mean, G4 is a great TV, but to answer that question, someone with a G3, the G4 is almost the same TV. The only difference is the game mode is supposed to have less of a nerf, because a G3 on game mode, you have a lot less color. You don't have the color boosting and all that stuff. So G4 is better in that regard, but it's almost the same TV. G5 would make more sense.
Yeah, and that's why StreamYard is crap. You know, I'm putting out now a comment, and Adam's thumbnail is gone. Our picture. This is we're looking for alternative for better solutions than StreamYard. Okay, just put something in the comments, and I don't mind to pay money for this. You know, it doesn't need to be a free version, because again, we pay 70 or 75 US dollar for StreamYard every month, which is a joke. This is a joke. You know what I mean? That's a joke. Anyway, did any of you ever played with the Stream Deck OLED? No, I haven't. It has the best portable screen with 1000 nits, a 2% window, and streaming from the command center is always Moonlight has HDR. Best for bed on the go. I mean, look, I never played with the Steam Deck OLED. I played with the very first Steam Deck at some point, you know, which was terrible in my opinion. But I never had the Steam Deck. I was going to buy it, so it's not officially available in Australia from Steam Deck or from I forgot the name.
Valve.
Who is behind?
Valve?
Yeah, Valve. Yes, correct. So it's not officially available, and it's too expensive for the performance what it's delivering. Honestly, it's not great in terms of FPS performance. Nah.
Yeah, what
That's
I'm
my
interested
opinion.
on getting after the 5090 is a high-end VR headset, a very nice one, like the best I can find, because I think VR gaming is fantastic. The thing is, you know, the it's uncomfortable, so I want to do my research and find something that would be useful.
Yeah, just on that VR side, Ariel, it's I just don't think VR is going to take off. I don't think it'll ever be mainstream. Are you a big believer in that? Like,
No, mainstream not, but I definitely, I strongly believe it is the future. VR gaming is another level. The problem with VR is that it's uncomfortable, and it has a huge barrier of entry. It's very difficult to figure out the settings and to make it work. So that's not for everyone. So you are already eliminating most of the people. Uncomfortable and very difficult to set up, not for everyone. And then we have almost no games. So
yeah, from my experience, I found a lot of people that try it once and then have sickness from it will never be interested in it again. I personally experienced it myself, and I never get sick from anything. So I was kind of a little bit taken back from it. But perhaps until the form factors get to a point where, like you said, they're more comfortable, they're less restrictive, and I found that my head was overheating. I just found it as a very uncomfortable experience.
How does it work with glasses and stuff like that? So is there any issue?
Oh, it works. No, you can even my Quest 2. I can put it on top of my glasses, no problem. It has a space for that. It has like a bracket or something to have.
Is it not now? Because I honestly I don't know when I used one. This is years ago. Of course, the technology now is evolved like crazy. So years ago, it was just crap. And the problem is, because I'm sitting so close for the screen, it would be the same when I'm going closer to this display here. Is it not weird, or is it just?
It feels claustrophobic a little bit. Yeah, it does. But I think everything can be resolved with higher quality VR headsets. Like if you have, less problems, basically. I believe there is definitely a future, a near future, where a VR headset is comfortable to use, and VR gaming is another level. And now we have mods. You can play Cyberpunk on VR. You can play almost every single Unreal Engine game on VR. Not only that, if you get a very high quality VR headset, you can play on 3D flat, and you can have in front of you the biggest TV you want, as big as you want. So there's a point where a 116-inch TV is not going to make any sense unless you want that for the cinema experience for the family to watch, because you can only use it yourself, a single person. But imagine you get a great quality, as big as you want. I mean, HDR, perfect blacks, I mean, it's
Yeah,
not
it has to be
close.
OLED anyway. It has to be
Yeah,
OLED.
it has to be OLED. That's another
Because
thing.
otherwise the contrast is crap. But
Yeah.
yes, FOMO is recommending eCam for Mac for streaming. So that means next
Ecamm,
weekend,
okay.
no aerial.
I mean, I do have an iPhone, but
Nah,
I'll look into that.
now
Yeah,
we're looking into this.
Just touching back on that VR thing, man. I just think the price to entry is just too expensive. First of all, you need a very high-end PC. Then you have to buy all the peripherals and the equipment that are required to kind of make the setup complete. Until they get that price down and they get it, I guess, less prohibitively expensive, I just don't see it taking off. But I think we're still years away from any kind of opportunity where that could become somewhat even likely to be like mainstream, in my opinion.
So the thing is, I'm talking about playing Cyberpunk on VR. There are many VR games that you can play with the internal processing of the
People
VR
still play
headset.
Cyberpunk?
Oh,
You
yeah.
can play Cyberpunk on VR. No, what I'm saying is these VR headsets are not that difficult. I mean, you buy one, you put it in, you download the app, and you play. But those games are crap, and they don't look like a high-end PC. So I'm talking about playing high quality.
I got you, man. I get you.
Yeah, and you get dizzy. Yeah, you
should get the good stuff.
Yeah.
So I think let's see. But I definitely want to go with it after the 5090.
Let's try to answer this one here from Danny Cool Swag. So wait for G5. I have an odd question. What is the best 4K Blu-ray player you can get it? I currently have a UB820 and I'm a massive 4K DV collector.
Do they make 4K DVDs?
They may. I don't know if they're still making DVDs. Actually, I don't know. The last time I bought one is years ago. And honestly, I honestly believe it doesn't matter nowadays if you buy a $50 DVD player and a $5,000 DVD player, because if this DVD player or 4K whatever Blu-ray player is outputting the signal as it is on the disc, there is literally no difference. You shouldn't see any difference because it's a digital signal. That's it. That's it. Okay, so you get, of course, more features and whatsoever with more expensive ones. But if you need them, that's a big question.
Let me touch on this one real quick. Did the reset successfully on my 609 Kuro, and it looks fantastic thanks to Dirt Gary. I have that video coming. I need time for that. There's a way to reset the black level on my Pioneer Kuro. Which was not possibly, people thought it was not possible before with a 60-inch, but it is possible to get rid of the red tint near black. So I will try that and share as soon as I have the chance.
So have you actually ever opened because this was the fun thing, because back then you can actually tune your display with potties on your plasma TV. Because it's actually just driven by voltage,
Yeah.
And that's what I did with my plasmas. Also with the Kuro, you need to find, of course, the right one, but there is some manuals on the internet, and then you just reduce or whatever the potties, and it's getting darker and bright and stuff like that. I mean, it's funny.
It is fun, but for the Kuro, I mean, the Kuro is unique. Because it has the ability on the service menu to reset the black levels closer to factory levels, because Plasma's black level over time gets worse. So Kuros can be reset, and that's why they are so sought after. So I will try that as soon as I have a chance.
We have a question from Mr. Totter Arzt. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Totter Arzt.
Okay, so he's saying, what's the issue with the G4? And let me just jump in on this one. There's no issue with it. And I think one thing I tried to do, and actually I wanted to bring this up because I quite often have these ideas offline, and I think, next live stream, I want to bring this up. If you ignore the G5, and you look at the videos all through 2024 about the G4, when the G4 was the latest and greatest, how people were praising it, and this is the TV, and it's so competitive with QD OLED, even though it's at a technological disadvantage. Then you fast forward to now, and then all of a sudden the G4, that's rubbish, that's old news, you don't want to get that, that's garbage, the G5 smokes it. So I guess you just have to kind of temper your expectations and just try to be mindful of what we've seen in the past. So next year the G6 will be even better, and the G5 will be, that's the crappy old one. So there's nothing wrong. Marcus and I both own the G4, and Marcus, in my opinion, did the most intelligent thing, purchasing it at the near end of its life cycle. You got an incredible price for your TV. And as I said, I actually put my G4 up for sale. I don't think it'll sell. I've put it at a reasonable price. If it does sell, then I would consider upgrading to the G5. But for me, every year, so what am I going to do? Spend 100%, lose 60, and then spend another 40. So I'm spending 40% every year just to get those little 5-10% increments.
Yeah, but that's what you do when you have a hobby, It's the same.
It's very hard not to get sucked into it. You listen to Brian, you listen to FOMO, you listen to KG, Classy. I listen to you guys. Like, I actually go on your channels and listen to your content as well. And you just get so sucked into it. And it's so hard not to kind of go, man, I need that new TV. Like, this is a garbage pile now. It's embarrassing. People are laughing at me. You know what I'm saying?
It doesn't matter where you spend. If you like to spend your money on your hobby, just do it. I know a guy in Germany. He's always, every year he's getting new tires, regardless of the condition of his old tires, because, there's a new tire generation or new tires. That's why. That's
like Leonardo DiCaprio with girlfriends. Every time they turn 19, he goes back. 18.
So, if I would have the money, I would do it. No, I can't say this.
Look, I sometimes joke that, we have a lot of money, so price increase is not a problem. I'm just joking. Of course, I don't have a lot of money. I have a family I'm the head of the household, and I have a family to take care of. So I think the most important thing is to appreciate what we already have and to enjoy that.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't mean you cannot be excited about the new thing. I am. But for example, I have this S90D QD OLED. I think the full screen brightness is so nerfed. It's just 200 nits. It could be a lot higher. And it's just, artificially restricted, I believe, by Samsung. But I'm okay with it. I appreciate the strength, and I think it looks great. But that doesn't mean I am not excited about getting a QD OLED that's like twice as bright, full screen, and has other qualities.
So I remember your comments earlier about if the QD OLEDs this year did not have that matte finish, you think that would be the TV to get. So in this world, they do have it. So in that being said, if you had to go out and purchase a TV this year, you had to, all your TVs are dead. What is the TV Ariel buys this year?
If the S95F had a glossy finish, I would not I would never buy a TV at release because you get half the price the next year.
Yeah, I'm just saying hypothetically, like the state of the way things are at the moment, what TV would you go out and buy, considering the matte finish?
G5.
Yeah,
but the thing is, I believe the S90. The problem with the S90F is that it's still 144 hertz, and the 165 for PC gaming is compelling. So that's why I would go with the G5. But if the S90F was 165 hertz and 215 nits full screen, but it's not. But I would get that one.
Yeah.
See, so all the ifs. So we have. Let's have a look on a couple of questions here. What we have. Sword Music is asking, any of you three got into sim racing? I mean, I play Gran Turismo. Does it count? Probably not.
What I wanted?
Not.
Stop the phone. Yeah, that's what happened with people,
And look, I'm guilty of it, man. I was listening to FOMO and Brian do their thing, and I was on my keyboard, like, okay, G4 for sale, half price. Someone come and take it. I'm going to go get this G5. So it's very hard not to get pulled into that. But one of the other questions is, and look, I don't claim to be the most knowledgeable or educated on this. I often get my information from you and other guys on YouTube, and I have these conversations. However, I'm trying to understand, it looks like the G5 is getting closer to its QD OLED counterpart in terms of color reproduction. This year, it looks like they have certainly closed the gap. Now, raises the question is, do you think if they continue on this trajectory, they will be able to get, I guess, in line with QD OLED in terms of color reproduction. Like, I know we're still limited by that white subpixel, but look what they are able to do with just evolving this technology.
I think I would, if LG can, the thing is they cannot go down in brightness because that doesn't look good on marketing. But if LG can eliminate that white subpixel, even if it is reducing the brightness, that would be better. The thing is, RGB is where it's at. I mean, even my plasmas look amazing, and they are so dim. They're so dim. It's not bright at all, and they look amazing.
Yeah. Sorry to jump over that question, Marcus. So FOMO just said people spend over $10,000 a year on golf clubs and membership and all the associated costs with this hobby. So no differently of being a TV enthusiast is your hobby. Don't be ashamed about your spending. Correct. Just don't tell your wife. That's the main topic.
I mean, usually they can't see the difference anyway.
Yeah,
it's $1,000 command center.
Sorry, Marcus, you want to go grab that previous question?
Where was this one with the? Here, this one. So what is with a lot newer games releasing with either poor HDR implementation or none at all? Yeah. Meanwhile, we always have to rely on either Renox DX or whatever. Will developers ever see the light? No, they will not probably. So I'm trying to get one of the Reno DX developer actually on a stream. Because it would be just interesting to understand actually how they're making mods. You know what I mean? I would just like to know this. But in terms, I'm always talking to also talking to some developers from games, and it's interesting that because the thing is, HDR implementation is a complete different departments, and sometimes it's just a very quick and dirty thing because they don't have resources. They don't bother about this because in their mind it's not big enough. Okay, yet. So that's why you have to rely on mods. And you can see I mentioned this already, and I don't want to play it down, but for Kingdom Come Deliverance, for an example, if I remember correctly, you have to replace or add actually just 2 files to the PC version, 2 little files, I think below 1 megabyte or whatever size. That's it. And then you have a native HDR implementation with a lot of settings. Of course, you need reshade, but that's the program anyway, what you have to use. So it appears to be very simple. I don't know what's going on, honestly. I don't know.
I have a question to follow up for both of you gentlemen, and I feel silly sometimes because I feel like I may be asking a stupid question, but I'm hoping you guys can kind of educate me on this. So from my understanding is when you plug in a certain display to a PC, this display has like a color profile. The PC can identify the display and you can kind of select a profile that says, okay, I know I'm talking to this display colors this particular way. In terms of consoles, why couldn't they fix HDR by implementing such a thing like a TV profile? So you plug a TV into the Xbox, it identifies, oh, you've got a G2 OLED. I know the maximum peak brightness is this, and so on and so forth, and just kind of do a system level HDR profile for that TV. Is that something that HDMI CEC could do? It could communicate saying, hey, I'm this TV, set this profile, or is this just like a pipe dream?
You're talking about dynamic metadata and stuff, and stuff what the system level calibration is doing. Actually,
is that too much work for a developer to design a profile for every TV?
Because all what you need to do is actually, so you set up your PlayStation, Xbox, PC according to the pattern or what you see on the screen, and they're very, very correct. Okay, and all what the game is need to do is actually read this information. That's all what the game needs to do.
So why aren't they doing this? Why are we having to watch Marcus's videos every damn game that comes out and calibrating my... Sorry, I'm not trying to take people away from your videos, but every time I buy a game, I go to your channel and I have to configure every game according to your specifications because I know you spend the time and get it right. But I mean, they have a golden opportunity where it's just...
Look, the problem is also, you need to consider we have, and that's a problem, of course, we have 7 trillion billion different displays out there, okay? And they're all labeled with HDR, okay? So even it's 400 nits, they're labeled as HDR. Of course, on a G4, for an example, or G3, you don't need to have any additional settings in a game if the HDR is mastered in the correct way. The G3 or all the high-end TVs on display will just display HDR in the best possible way, and there will be no difference or no issue. But then you have displays on the market, they're absolutely crap. And then, of course, you like to adjust the settings to make it brighter, to do this and whatsoever. I think that's the meaning behind. And also, I think the problem with the 0.05 nits black level race, what we have seen in so many games, and it's exactly 0.05 nits, is to really to match LCD screen with backlight, with active backlight, dynamic backlight, to make sure that if they have a very dark scene and there are some details, that the backlight actually lights up. Because I have seen this problem. If there is almost no input, the display doesn't know what to do, because it's just a little tiny dot which needs to be illuminated, and the display stays dark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, Tox, sorry, just quickly, Toxmog said, okay, the calibrating is a part of the hobby, which I get it for people like us in that small percentile of people who love TVs and love calibrating and doing all this stuff. But, let's be honest, 99% of the population do not care. They just turn it on and want it to work. And it's like I feel like that's where the disservice to the community is coming from. Like, they really need to have something that is a standardized process where they can just turn it on and it should work. We shouldn't have to do this. Do we enjoy doing this? Absolutely. It's fun, but sorry, Ariel, to cut you off, but it's just I just find it very frustrating, because all my friends that have any nice TVs, do they ever change the settings? Not
no,
unless
because
I go there and do it.
You shouldn't.
Exactly.
That's the thing. You shouldn't. And that's the good thing on the newer TVs. I mean, so even with the LG CX, when I started, there was this magenta tint and whatever. So, but even you don't touch anything. The out of the box picture was, compared to all my other TVs, top notch. Yeah. And now with the G4, I haven't used my calibration tool at once on this TV. And why? Because I turn on the picture and say, wow, this looks good. Why would I now like to change something where I don't even know if my meter is correct? You know what I mean? If I like what I'm seeing and I'm looking at test pattern and test videos and whatsoever, and this is exactly how I like it, why would I like to change anything?
Sorry,
I
Ariel,
wanted
go
to
ahead.
say that it is weird that many games have the black level race of what Marcos is saying, 0.05. It is very weird.
It is
but
weird.
I think the argument that they would do that because mini LED TVs with the dimming zones might crush blacks if it is not high enough or something. If that's the reason why they do it, is very wrong, because you cannot assume that all people have a display that has defects and limitations. And actually, OLED gaming right now is so high. There's so many OLED monitors for PC and OLED TVs too. So, and also an LCD display, if it doesn't have an issue, 0 is gonna look better than race, and race should show something.
And the problem is, you can't. So without mods, you can't get rid of this. Even with my recommended settings for the LG TV, and I'm recommending to use the fine-tuned dark area setting, all what we're doing is actually we pushing the picture down. Okay, but the problem is we're not gaining any information in this. So we're losing the 0.05 nits. It doesn't sound much, but just do me the favor, have an Xbox and go to the HDR calibration. And then you press all four shoulder buttons, and then you increase the black level test pattern to 0.05 nits. So you turn on all your lights. You can absolutely clearly see the pattern. So it's not less 0.05 nits. It does sound less, and it doesn't. I would never recommend to use SDR instead, because even the SDR has a race, because of that. Because it's an SDR master already. And they're putting an HDR whatever container over it.
I think it's the color grading. I think we don't like sometimes the color grading. That's what happened.
Yeah.
So
here's a super chat from Face23 BKNY, $20. So whoever that went to, man, that's very generous. Thank you very much. I know we all appreciate it wherever it went. So AC Shadows, biggest PS5 Pro upgrade from a AAA publisher so far. RTAO at 60% is very impressive on the
Absolutely.
Pro.
Absolutely. And I couldn't believe this because, so RT, so global illumination is always on a PlayStation 5 Pro. in the performance mode. So none on any other consoles. You need to use the quality mode on all the other consoles, which is a big step down, honestly. No one wants to play with 30 FPS anymore. And I compared this. So the problem is really when you play on the base PlayStation 5, the game looks great. No doubt about that. And you play, and then you just switch to the PlayStation 5 Pro and say, oh, this looks completely different. And then you compare this side by side, and you look on the global illumination, the lighting, the shadows, say, oh my goodness, that's a big difference. Absolutely.
Yeah, I watched the Digital Foundry video today.
Why? Not my video.
No, I also watched your video. But Digital Foundry had an interview with the developers. So they shared some footage behind the scenes.
Okay, I would love to have these opportunities, but anyway.
Oh, for sure, I would love to interview a developer from a AAA.
Yeah, but you're asking the wrong questions when you go to Sony. Why? Yeah.
I mean, I try to be reasonable. I think to ask a company to offer what they already have is so reasonable. I'm not asking them to do something different. I'm just saying, don't kill things that are good. Why?
So again, thank you very much, Face, for this super chat. We have another one. See why I can't see now? This is different now on Mac.
Down the bottom. Here we go.
Oh, here we are. Sorry, Jimmy Harrison.
Jimmy, what up, my man?
Always here, like Face as well. Thank you very much. Always good to see you guys. Love your channels.
I want to compliment Jimmy on his profile picture thumbnail. We often get some very weird thumbnails popping up with some weird stuff, and that just looks like a very wholesome family man. I'm assuming, and I'm all for it, man. But good to see you.
Thank you very much, Jimmy.
Hey, I wanted to comment on this one from Matt. I think this is Ninjishan, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So he's saying I cannot go back to RGB for life. That's why I'm looking forward to see the G5 in person. What happened to me without knowing anything at the very beginning, I go from a plasma to the C1 and I didn't like it. And I make videos bashing the C1, and that was unfair because the C1 is superior still. And later I learned to appreciate the qualities. But I was right in that there was something off about it, that my eyes didn't like it at all. And I love QD OLED, and I thought I was gonna hate it. And one of the things that I really like with QD OLED is that the brightness doesn't hurt. So with my C1, I love to lower the blue lights, do this blue light killer settings, because the brightness, even when it's not very bright, it's a little bit uncomfortable to me. I don't know if that's because of the white subpixel, but QD OLED is just better in every single way. It looks more correct to me. It gives me the plasma, some of that plasma color that I was looking for. Even, of course, a lot brighter than plasma. But I am afraid that the G5, even when it is super bright, is going to feel like, let's say it's a woman with makeup that looks beautiful.
Careful.
But it's because of the makeup. See, it's like, it's not just waking up. See, if you see a lady just waking up, just a princess, I think that's RGB. It's raw. It is natively beautiful. There's no tricks. I think the G5 is gonna look amazing, but I'm gonna be like, there is something off about it, and I cannot quite put my finger on it. But maybe not. Maybe it's gonna look perfect.
I just have a quick first world problem here, and in my opinion, once you go a larger display, it's very difficult to go down in size. Would you all agree with that? Or disagree?
Yeah,
Boy.
probably.
I mean, when I saw 65-inch, I wanted to change the 55 S95C for 65. And
Right.
That's what she said, yeah.
And so this is a very, very first world problem. But for me, I'm already at 83-inch. I've got two 83C1s and I've got an 83-inch G4. And I would absolutely love to go and try QD OLED, even though I have my problems with Samsung from the past. There is no 83-inch QD OLED offering. So Is that a missed opportunity, or am I just a very small percentage of the market that doesn't really have much pull or say in their direction? So it's just, for me, it's just not an option. What am I going to go do? Buy a 77-inch just so I can get a QD OLED? That's ridiculous.
No, it doesn't make sense. No, doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's difficult.
Let me
but
go
maybe
to this
try it.
comment. So low to high is saying AC Shadows HDR implementation sucks. I fully disagree. Absolutely. Just because it has 0.05 nits black level rays, which I mentioned in my video, which is not a good thing to do. I don't know why. But the HDR implementation is actually pretty good. And I showed this in my video. So I would always like to know on what screens you guys actually playing when you're doing a comment like that. I would like to know why you think actually HDR implementation sucks in this game, and what is a good HDR implementation for you?
Some people, and I have made that mistake. Not mistake. Like, I do that all the time. If it's not perfect, it sucks. So you know,
what is perfect in my life, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, my wife, of course.
Yeah, it's difficult to look at things like that. We have another super chat here from
Phase again. Thank you very much, buddy.
Thank you very much to the
Xbox guy. That's you, Adam.
PS5 Pro will show its value over time.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so. I mean,
am I just known as the Xbox guy now?
That's it. You're branded.
That's awesome, man.
I'm the Apple shill, and then we have the Nvidia shill.
I own 4 PS5s, man. I love my PS5s. I just don't play them.
In? Are they plugged
in? They are plugged in, but look, maybe the PS5 Pro will show its value over time, but I don't think it's showing its value at its current price point.
No, it does not. I fully agree on that. And we talked about it.
Look, there's no question it is the best console out at the moment in terms of raw horsepower, but can you justify, at least in my country, I could purchase 2 PS5s for the price of a Pro.
I went on a not on live stream, but in a comment with Reforge Gaming. I don't know if you know this channel. I like him. There's some controversy about him, but I like him. And he said, why people still buying the base PlayStation 5? Because the Pro is just $250 more. And I said, wait a moment. You're talking about the US. Okay, so that's the price here in Australia. You know, $649 for the digital base PlayStation 5 and $1,200 for the Pro. So that's not just a little bit more. That's almost twice as much. Okay. So that's a big difference then, okay? So if there's just a little bit of an, whatever, $100, $200 more, then no point to go with the base PlayStation 5. But
yeah, it brings that argument to, do things get to a point of diminishing returns? It's like me being silly going, okay, I purchased a G4 83-inch. Am I going to go sell that, buy a G5 83-inch, pay a huge premium, and then maybe get a 5% increase? It's the same argument with the PS5 Pro. As I said, I'm not denying it is the best console out in the market. It's definitely showing improvements. But can you justify selling your PS5 if you already have one and then paying double and getting a Pro for a very small increase in performance?
I mean, look, but again, we're back to the same question. It's your hobby. If you do this, what you like to do, then yes, go for it. Because the difference between on AC Shadows, I couldn't. The problem is always you play the Xbox or base PlayStation 5 version. You think, hey, the game is really nice. It plays absolutely fantastic. There are dips to 55 frames per second on all consoles. It doesn't matter. You turn on VRR, it's fine. And then you put on the PlayStation 5 Pro version, and you think, oh, that's a different game. That's a different, level setting, something like that. But the problem is, of course, if you don't know or if you can't compare, you will never know. Just from videos from Digital Foundry or myself, you will see, oh, there's a huge difference, actually. And there is, in my opinion, a huge difference. If it is now worth the money, that's up to you.
I think the reason why Sony or Microsoft don't do a more expensive console is because they don't have the chip from AMD. But I strongly believe if the chip was there, they would do a $2,000 console. It would sell out. I think a $2,000 console, if it has the performance of a high-end gaming PC, it will sell out. I think they're missing out. They don't do it because they don't have the chip. AMD is not doing it.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, but in my opinion, consoles were always affordable compared to PCs, and that should stay like that, in my opinion. You never get the same performance, but I mean that's argument anyway. It's not valid in my opinion.
But
Because we're always talking about, oh, PlayStation 5 Pro, I can have much better resolution with my 5090. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, no shit.
Wow. I mean, of course you
here's the
can.
thing. Games are expensive. How many games do we have? Imagine if you have 100 games and the price is average $30 and it's probably more, that's $3,000.
Yeah.
So I think if you're going to invest that much in a platform, you want to see that at the highest quality. So I don't see a very expensive console as a problem at all. I would want to have an expensive
I mean,
console.
the problem what we're seeing, I do, first of all, because as a parent, I don't want to afford $2,000 for my little one to play games, first of all. And what I don't like anymore with future generations is a Xbox Series S and an Xbox Series X, because the S is actually making gaming worse, because they have to adapt games on the S with a lower performance and stuff. We have seen this on games like Baldur's Gate, where there is no split screen possible on the S.
Yeah. I can certainly
thing.
understand where their thinking came from, because you think about it from their perspective. They're coming last in the race, right? They're even behind Nintendo. So you think, okay, how can we give gamers the cheapest, least friction point of entry into the Xbox ecosystem? If everyone is buying a PS5 or a Nintendo, we want to give someone a really easy way to kind of dip their toes into the Game Pass and Xbox ecosystem. So I can understand logically how that makes sense, why they brought out that console. However, I was thinking about it yesterday about, is Xbox going to bring out another console? Do they have one more left in them? Look, I've heard from some people who kind of know people in the industry saying it's not going to happen in terms of the high-powered box. It's going to be all these other kind of little devices and everything. I certainly hope they do. And in my opinion, I believe if you look back every year, basically there's pretty much a parity between PlayStation and Xbox. When you go from, say, PS3 to 360, PS4 to One, and PS5 to Series X, they're pretty much neck and neck. You can't really say definitively like one leaves the other one behind. In my opinion, the only thing Xbox have to do, if they've got one more shot in them to create a console to make a dent, when the PS6 and the next Xbox come out, they have to be a good 10, 20, 30% in front of the PS6 in terms of performance and horsepower. That's the only way I can really see them having a real opportunity to bring some of these players over. If the PS6 comes out and they are basically the same kind of console, it really is game over, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like they have to bring something so much better out that players who are leaning more to better performance will be swayed enough to leave their PlayStation behind. Thoughts?
They have to compete. That's for sure.
They have to compete. I mean, I always wondered why we don't have a big difference between all the consoles anyway. So apart from Nintendo, but I mean, the Xbox Series X and the base PlayStation 5 are very similar when it comes to performance. So the same with back then, all the console generation, there was never a big difference between those consoles. Never. So why is that? You don't think they're talking to each other?
Well, I would be very shocked during the development process if Sony and Microsoft don't know exactly what each other are building through industry leaks and whatnot.
The stuff is anyway coming from AMD, you know what I mean, for both consoles.
Yeah, so, but as I said, they have to smoke the PS6. It cannot be a parity console.
No, but it will not smoke the PlayStation 6. That's how it is.
Probably not.
And the thing is, I wouldn't be even surprised that. So we talk about Microsoft and Sony. If they're not going at the same time to AMD and say, hey, we like to have new chips for our consoles, there need to be slightly different. But hey, we need to have actually a very good price. What can you do? Let's do this. Blah, 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 and let's just change this on the layout or whatever. I'm pretty sure. I mean, can you imagine that they're designing complete different whatever chips for I mean, it's a PC part anyway. in the consoles nowadays. You know what I mean? Just with a little bit different RAM connections and stuff like that. But at the end, it's PC parts. You know.
So
That's what it is.
the implication is you're suggesting that Microsoft and PlayStation are basically going to buy the same chips again. That's what you're saying.
No. So when you open, of course, the consoles, there's different layouts or whatsoever. But I mean, as a PCB manufacturer, you know how to do the same chip slightly different, you know, and something like that. And chips are the same, you know what I mean, from the size or whatever. You know, that there will not be that big of a difference, but you design them a little bit different compared to the to Sony or whatever PlayStation 5. And but then you can manufacture it at the same very low cost. You know what I mean?
Of
I don't
course,
think
the
they have
economy of scale.
completely different lines to manufacture the chips. I don't think so.
So to follow that same thought process here, someone's asking, hey, 9070 or 5070 Ti?
Yeah.
I think if you look at it from a value perspective, you either get the 5090 or AMD. If you get 5090, you want the best. If you want value, then you get AMD. The thing is, NVIDIA features are very compelling.
Yeah.
And I would prefer to have NVIDIA. I would like to get a 5090, but it's very, very ridiculously expensive. So 5080 maybe makes sense for $1,000. It is the best for that price. But going lower than 5080, I think the 9070 XT is very compelling. You can get in some cases 5080 performance, and it overclocks very well. And FSR4 seems to be very good. I would like to see it. I haven't seen it yet. But it is very compelling. Now, what I think Xbox have to do to separate himself and win over PS5 is go with NVIDIA.
Not gonna happen.
Go with NVIDIA and go with a separate. So next generation say, okay, Sony keeps going AMD. We're gonna go NVIDIA and we're gonna crush PS5 in performance. Crush it. Like it's
That's
not
a
gonna
very
be
interesting
close.
thought.
And charge more money, and not only that, make it a PC, make it support Windows. If Microsoft does that, they're
No,
gonna
don't
win.
do this.
They're
Sorry.
No,
I know,
like a separate
I know
thing.
what you mean.
Like a separate
I know
thing.
what you mean, yeah.
You still get the console experience,
Yeah.
but if you want to go into the Windows environment, it would work. So you get NVIDIA features, NVIDIA power, all the AI and all that stuff. And
the
I
next
think
thing
it
is-
will be compelling.
And the next thing is game development. So I think it was never that easy for companies to develop games for the two consoles because they are literally the same hardware. Okay? So literally the same hardware. But correct me if I'm wrong. So if now Microsoft would consider go NVIDIA, whatever, and do something else, I mean, I know where the game's selling, you know, at the end. They're selling on PlayStation 5. So you would see a different quality from the developers, which we have seen in the past with the PlayStation 3, for an example, was terrible to program. And the first games had a terrible performance and picture quality compared to Xbox, if I remember correctly. I'm pretty sure that was the case. And then over the time, when they got used to the PlayStation 3, it got better, okay? But I think nowadays, you know, the company is trying to avoid spending money at all costs. At all costs, you know. That's why they're going with the same hardware. That's why they're going and that's why the game developers. You don't think that big companies like Rockstar Games saying, "Hey, Microsoft, what is your next console? Are we doing this and this?" Oh, that's not easy to develop. No, thank you.
No, but what I mean is to make it almost a PC. So when the developers work on the PC version, Xbox, it will be the same thing.
Yeah, but is it not the same right now? What is the hardware in a PlayStation 5? You know, it's AMD chips, whatever. You know what I mean? It's not. I'm pretty sure the architecture is x86, huh?
Yeah.
Like a PC chip, huh? Like a normal GPU.
My
CPU.
thinking is exactly that. Development for PC and Xbox is like exactly the same thing. Optimization is almost the same. So basically, Xbox would be selling a mini PC build, like a pre-built mini PC for a much better price than if you just buy the PC. And the reason is because it would be a locked platform. But of course, if they give you access to Windows, then you can pirate the games, and it will be
jumping in on the back of that comment. So this week there was a leak that Microsoft had. Where is it? So they've basically looked like they're implementing Steam. So it's a little bit blurry. I don't know if that's clear or not. So you can see they leaked a new interface where there's actually a Steam button. and so they quickly removed it. Have you guys heard about this?
Yeah.
So it looks like that may be coming true to a certain extent. I'm not sure, but Ariel, what you were saying, it's very interesting. I never kind of thought about it like that, and I think you're right. I think maybe if I guess my point is that if Xbox is going to have one more shot to try and compete with Sony, they have to blow it out of the park. And Marcus, I know you're right. They're probably just going to be the same console, but they're doing the same thing and nothing's going to change. That's called being crazy, insanity. So they maybe need to shift gears and go knock on Nvidia and say, hey, give us some of that tech, give us the best bits and pieces that you can give us that you've learned from the 5090. Let's make something that's going to be not just equal to PlayStation 6, but better, because that is their last shot. And I think if they don't take it and fully execute and have something that's compelling enough, maybe to bring it up to closer to PC level performance,
Because
just going
if
to
you
fail.
Just to keep, I don't know when a new PlayStation 6 or new Xbox will be released, but just think about one thing. If on the PlayStation, because on the PlayStation 5 will be, I mean, even PlayStation 6 hopefully can play GTA 6 in 60 FPS, but we never know. But if this would be happening on a new Xbox, 60 FPS over 30 FPS for some games on a PlayStation 6, oh my God, this would be a selling point, at least for me. Because we will see 30 FPS games on the PlayStation 6 again. No worries.
I think it should be completely
banned.
Be outlawed.
Banned. Like you should not be allowed to sell that on a console. It's just not. It makes no sense on these consoles. So we got another super chat here from Jimmy Harrison.
Jimmy again.
Thank you very much. Says thanks for the compliment, guys. That's me and the Mr. Huge Tech enthusiast.
Mrs. Huge
and gamer
That's me
as
and the
well.
missus, yeah.
Gamer
Oh,
as
cool.
well.
So she's a gamer as well. Oh my God, you're so lucky. My wife can't. I don't know. She can't even hold the controller. Oh, hopefully she's not listening to the streams anyway. All good. We are safe.
So he says we help with the right TV and HDR
Thank you very
settings,
much.
etc. Thank you very much.
Good man. I love it. Love the profile picture.
Yeah.
So just jumping off the back of that. So do you guys disagree with what I'm saying? Like as I said, if they're just bringing out PS3, 360, PS4, Xbox One, PS5, Xbox Series X, like they aren't doing anything. They're not moving the needle. Do you agree or disagree?
Because
in my opinion, they have to be up here for PS6 and Xbox. It has to be a huge difference.
Again, they're talking to each other, and they know exactly how to milk the consumers. So they know this exactly, and you're right. So the PlayStation 6 will be nothing else than a PlayStation 5 with more performance. I mean, PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 5 was nothing else than a PlayStation 4 with more performance. That's how it is. So now they're introducing PSSR, which is an upscaler, instead of FSR. That's a feature, you know what I mean? But there will be no significant jump, Again, we will see 30 FPS games on the PlayStation 6, most likely with a higher resolution, or maybe even not, because we have Unreal Engine 6 and it's destroying everything. You don't know. It's.
I understand what you're saying, but I think we're having two different conversations here. Like I agree with all the points you're saying, but my point is that Microsoft need to bring out their next gen console with a significant performance overhead over the top of the PlayStation 6, or that will be their last console.
Yes,
that's basically my point.
Because they don't have the games and people buy
that's
Sony
right.
because of the exclusive. So if you don't have the games, you have to be the best for third party and not be
correct.
Even
if
worse,
you don't have the games,
the Xbox sometimes is worse performance than PS5.
True. Yeah, and that's very well said. If you don't have the best games, you better have the best damn system that people are going to go, well, man, I'm getting 30% better raw performance on an Xbox. Maybe I'll go get my multi-platform games on a Series X or on a new Xbox.
But wait a moment. So the Xbox, so not talking about performance, because it's sometimes a hit and miss on both consoles. Sometimes base PlayStation 5 is slightly better, sometimes Xbox, okay?
True.
But in terms of the hardware itself and the software features, Xbox is miles ahead of Sony, in my opinion. 120 Hz support all the time. VRR support much better than on the PlayStation. Dolby Vision support, there's no question asked. You know what I mean? Xbox is better in all those features. I'm just like to mention this one more time. If you like to have, let's say, you copy your whole library to an external drive on your Xbox because you don't have space anymore, you can do this in the background on the Xbox, and you play games, and it takes 5 hours because you have so many games. On the PlayStation 5, you have to stay on the screen and watch for 5 hours. I'm not kidding. This is BS beyond. I don't understand this.
I remember
and don't
people.
tell me it's a software. It's not. It's just a design.
I remember people criticizing Xbox because their dashboard wasn't displayed in high dynamic range, and I thought, okay, but does it really matter if your dashboard isn't blasting your face in bright light? Because I remember people making that as a big argument, as if it was a thing. Like, I don't care.
It's actually better, honestly, not to have this in HDR, because but it's my opinion. But anyway,
so
you have another super chat.
This question, we got a super chat. Thank you very much, Defets. He's saying, when I'm doing Windows HDR calibration, do I set max full frame luminance to 100% APL brightness reported on Artings? No, and I'm going to explain you why. The display is doing tone mapping, okay, due to ABL. So it is ABL tone mapping. So let's say, of course, the tone mapping of the displays are all different, but they are all doing tone mapping due to ABL, regardless of if you use HDIG, dynamic tone mapping on, active tone mapping, or whatever, or a monitor. So let's say that your display is 200 nits full screen, but it goes up to 1000 nits for the peak brightness. So you might think, well, if it's 200 nits full screen, then the full frame luminance should be set to 200, right? No, because when the display is receiving max CLL full white 1000, it will be 200. Because the display is doing tone mapping due to ABL, it knows it cannot display 1000, so it's going to show you 200. So let's say the full screen brightness is now 800. It's not going to be 200 full screen. It's going to be a little bit less. So it will map the tones. It's tone mapping. So basically what I'm saying is that you will see a difference between 1000 nits full screen white and 800 nits full screen white. You will see that there's a jump, or 900, anything less than that. You will see that the brightness is decreasing. So basically what that means is that your full screen brightness of 1000 is 200. If you lower it to 900, it might be, 180. If you lower it a little bit more, it's going to be a little bit less. So you will always, the goal, the purpose, is that you will always see a difference, even if, of course, your full screen brightness is not 1000. So what I'm saying right now is that tone mapping is taken care of by the display, and it's tone mapping due to ABL, and ABL is because of power restrictions. So you don't have to worry about it. You set it the same as the maximum peak brightness for the full frame luminance.
So I mean, to make it even easier, I would, if you're uncertain, I would always recommend follow the instruction on the screen. Honestly.
Oh, that works for sure. Yeah, that will tell you. That will tell you, and that will show you what I'm telling you. You will see that the logo will disappear at the target. Yeah. So that proves that. But it is a valid question. It's something that I ask myself. So he's also asking, but I checked CRU on the default on calibrated settings, and max FFL was 76, aka 260 nits, not the same as peak brightness, which was 128, 800. Well, do this. See when is the logo clipping. That's gonna give me the reason. So basically, use that test pattern, and you will see that the logo is going to clip at the same point where your peak brightness is clipping. Maybe that could be different on a specific display, but if the tone mapping, if the ABL tone mapping is right, it should be exactly the same for all displays. So test it, basically, is what I'm saying. Just see when is the logo disappearing.
So what has this to do with Hey, Dagny, by the way, thank you very much for joining. But what has the file system type to do with doing operations in the background? Nothing, huh?
So what's he saying? Because it uses direct NTFS and DirectX 12. What would DirectX have?
So DirectX 12 is the graphic.
I know, but what would that have to do with transferring files?
Nothing, in my opinion, because I'm talking. Maybe I said it wrong. I'm talking really about you go to your library or storage or whatever, and then you just move your whole library to an external drive. Okay, what you have connected, and then you just leave the screen, and it's doing this in the background, and you start playing a game. On the PlayStation, again, it stays on the whole screen. You can't, if you move back, it will interrupt the process. Okay? So in my opinion, this has nothing to do with NTFS or DirectX 12 or FAT32. Those are just file systems, and DirectX 12 is the graphic, I forgot the name, whatever you use for displaying your games. No, but this you need to explain this to me why you think that's the case. I think it's just a very bad design decision of Sony. That's what I think.
Yeah, before we jump to the super chat, I also wanted to say Sony does the tone mapping a little bit different. It's like something weird. They have a target that's like the A95L I'm talking about, because we asked Classic in one stream and he popped a comment saying that the target was like 4,000 nits, but if you use the HDR calibration app or system level calibration on the console and you go to 4,000 nits, so that's when the logo disappears, then the games are gonna look kind of blown out, and you have to set it below that. It's like 1750 if I remember correctly. So you might have a display that has something weird going on with the tone mapping that you have to know, but for the most part that shouldn't be the case. So Ben is saying that I have a 1590 MSI Trio if you are interested.
For $2.
Just send it to me. I'll pay you for it.
Thank you very much for that.
If you didn't pay a scalper price, okay, if you paid Best Buy, retail price, I'll give you the money. So send it to me, and I will PayPal you the money, and I would appreciate it. You would be the savior. I would put a monument on your name. A wallpaper that says Ben was the man. Okay,
Ben is the goat.
The goat.
He will glaze you over.
You will be goated forever. Send it to me. I will pay you.
I promise you some. But hey, this is very, very great if this can happen. But if anyone tries to fool Ariel, okay, you got a big problem with all of us. Okay, we just a friendly reminder. Okay.
I will pay you the price after tax and everything. And I will pay you for the shipping too. So you ship it to me, I'll pay you the shipping. And I will pay also, if you pay insurance for the shipping, I will pay for that insurance too.
I would do this, yeah. You never know.
Let's go. Let's go. Just shoot me an email.
If this happens, LiveStream, Ariel. LiveStream, we're waiting for the shipment, for the post-delivery guy.
I will post my
LiveStream
email.
On the street.
I will post my email here, and you can shoot me an email.
Are you sure you want to do that?
I'm not saying that you do this. I'm just, but you got the history or what Ariel went through with the 5090, you know what I mean? And people trying to scam him, and I'm not happy about that. I mean, nowadays you need to be careful anyway. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, that's how it is.
Yeah, I mean, I got a lot of emails from people that were asking for more money, like $300 more. Someone else asked me for like the 5090, and then you buy me an SSD, like an 8 terabyte SSD or something like that. I'm like, that SSD is like $600 or something.
Man, $300 more. Why don't you just pay that and get it? Like, it's only $300.
No, what I told him was, if you want to make money, don't sell it to me. You scalp it online. You're gonna make a lot more money.
But I mean, like the headaches that you have been going through. For me, I would just pay the price plus $300 as a premium just to have that in my hand. No, personally,
I pay. No. If you wanna do me a favor and be a hero, and I appreciate it very much, I will pay you whatever you paid. If you wanna make money, don't make money with me. Scalp it online. You're gonna make double the money.
Yeah, brother, I agree.
There are no more heroes anymore. Yeah. There are no more heroes.
And Dagny, Xbox guessed technically Microsoft OS R&D backing, but Sony and Cerny made great strides in actually gameplay experience and technical performances. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So Microsoft gets technical Microsoft operating system research and development backing, but Cerny made great strides in actual gameplay and technical performances. Yeah, there's definitely some truth to that. I agree with you, Marcus. I think the Microsoft dashboard is just so much more well thought out. Look, if you are first jumping on a PlayStation and an Xbox, I definitely think the PlayStation will be more easier for a first timer because it's so simple. But the Xbox dashboard is more complicated. But once you understand it, the way you can move around and do things is so much quicker once you understand it.
I have no problems with all of them, but I just like the features what Xbox is offering much better because, and I still don't understand it. Why we don't have AMD FreeSync on the PlayStation 5? Why?
Why is that? Why is that?
Yeah, because they don't want. I don't know why. Honestly, it's a software integration.
So they're just using Forum VRR.
Yeah, which is bad, as I have proven in many videos, and people getting mad at me.
Yeah, I mean, they have to step up their game. It's not acceptable. VRR is like, bare minimum. Like, they have to implement that. I mean, the best way. It's very necessary.
Sorry.
Let me answer this question here.
Go back, yeah.
So, if the peak brightness clips at 800 and HDR calibration, but my display is capable of 1200 peak, do I set it to 800 or 1200? So the thing is, the clipping point doesn't have anything to do with the actual peak brightness of the display. So that is based on the calibration of the display. You can calibrate the display to clip at any point, and at that point give you its maximum peak brightness. It's all a matter of the
but this doesn't make sense, because if there is a 1200, if let's say my G4, which has 1500 nits, would now clip according to my PlayStation 5 calibration tool at 1200, something is wrong.
Well, but the thing is, on your G4, you can use tone mapping off.
Okay, we're talking about HGIG. I'm talking about.
No, but that's the thing. That's not HGIG. That's the thing. So if your display, of course, even with HGIG, the actual peak brightness of your G4 could be 1400 or could be 1600, very close to it. So for HGIG, you want it to be close. So the actual peak brightness of the display doesn't have to be necessarily where the display is clipping. Now, for HGIG, ideally, you want to be clipping exactly. And actually, some calibrators, what they do is to set a tone mapping curve for tone mapping off to be precisely clipping at the actual peak brightness of the display, which they measure, and they make it clip at that point. So it follows the EOTF closely.
Yeah, but that's for dynamic tone mapping off. Yes, correct. Because, for example, for movies or when you use filmmaker mode, because there's no HGIG. But HGIG is clipping exactly at the maximum peak brightness point, according to my knowledge and many other calibrators.
Yeah, but from display to display, there's a small difference.
But again, that's why you have your setup. So on the Xbox Series X, for an example, you can increase the nits by 50 nits. Okay, and you can make it, and it's turning out exactly at 1500. Okay, so that's where you start the display. It's disappearing. Okay, so I'm just saying, if you use HGIG and you have an LG G4, and you calibrate your TV with the HDR calibration app on the Xbox, and it turns out to be just 1200, something is not right.
Oh, but he might not have the G4. He might have something.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying.
What I'm saying is, with the same G4 from one G4 to another G4, there might be a small difference in brightness, but they are both clipping at the same target because they are set up like that from the factory.
No,
so the logo is not gonna disappear earlier, or it's gonna disappear at the same point for all G4s, regardless of the actual peak brightness. I might be wrong. That's what I believe.
I mean, you're right. It shouldn't do the same thing on all G4s. So maybe you have one with 1550 or whatever, 1600 nits.
Exactly.
But then that's you're lucky. You know what I mean? And I can make it probably brighter anyway. If I use cool color tone or something like that.
Exactly.
But that's why you use this. But again, I'm saying if you think your TV whatever can do 2000 nits, and then you go into the HDR calibration, it turns out clipping at 1500, then either there's very bad tone mapping or something else is wrong.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. So of course, yeah. Marcus,
so when you do that system level calibration, you should have HDRG enabled, right? That's what you're saying.
You should have enabled the mode you like to play the games with, in my opinion.
Right, and then you do the system level calibration.
Yes. Okay. I mean, still there are some questions, and I still can't get around, because the thing is that with dynamic tone mapping on, and it depends on the games as well. That's the thing. So let's say, dynamic tone mapping on expects without metadata 4000 nits. Okay, so that's that's how dynamic tone mapping works the best according to my knowledge. Okay, but that doesn't mean that you should set now, if you like to play with dynamic tone mapping on or off, the game internal brightness to 4000 nits, let's say, because you don't know what the game is actually doing with the 4000 nits. It may be better that you use the native peak brightness of your screen, even you use dynamic tone mapping off or on. So that's a game by game decision. But this comes from because back then many movies or whatever were mastered with 4000 nits. And then they used dynamic tone mapping off, and the display just did, or dynamic tone mapping on, and the display just did their best to match the maximum peak brightness. Okay? But anyway, HDRG is just much better. Just use HDRG. Full stop. Let me try to answer this question.
Let me say something else before we jump in.
Yeah.
Keep in mind that the HDR calibration app on Windows might not be triggering the right tone mapping on the display, and that happens on the Samsung QD OLEDs. So for that to happen, you need to open an HDR video or a game on HDR, and then with that open, you open the HDR calibration app, and then maybe when you do that, it will be clipping at 1200 nits.
Yeah, but
maybe
that's
what's
bug.
happening.
You know, that's a bug. This shouldn't be the case.
Bug. Yeah, it's a bug.
So where was my best looking game 2024? Oh, good question, but Indiana Jones looks pretty good in my opinion. But we had also Horizon Forbidden West. So Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah, Forbidden West, wasn't it?
Nah, Zero Dawn. Forbidden West was also
the remaster.
So yeah, but I can't honestly. There are. I mean, yeah, I like the Lego game from Horizon Forbidden West. You know, the Lego game. I like the graphic style. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think the worst is definitely Monster Hunter Wilds when it comes to graphics and performance.
Yeah, we have
a question here from Emmanuel Detective. Which games have really convinced you that frame gen is the future? I got a 4070 Ti and am playing Half-Life 2 RTX. Is that Half-Life 2? HL2, I'm guessing. HL2 RTX at 40 FPS native, but frame gen takes it up. And even with mouse, works fantastic in C's 2070, Cyberpunk 2077.
So far, not a single game, honestly.
Thoughts?
No, I was disappointed when I tested MFG. But of course, I don't have a 50 series GPU. NVIDIA is going to do it much better than this program, lossless scaling. But my disappointment is I thought with a 360 hertz display, if I have like 120 FPS base, the frame generation was going to be amazing and perfect. No artifacts. And it's not like that. And it is not a better experience than raw frame rate at all. So I think raw, the thing is, I like flickering technologies. I like frame generation, asynchronous projection, all that stuff. But at the end, raw, high frame rate, raw, sample and hold, brute force, 1000 plus FPS is the future. And that's what's going to make everything look perfect. Less than that will be necessary because you have to compromise somewhere. But yeah, perfection is raw pixels, raw maximum, everything. But that's going to be very, very hard to achieve.
Question from Dachny. The Xbox Series X dashboard gets super laggy when you're regularly hardcore gaming, but PS5 handles anything you put at it, no lag from a purely gamer actual playing and stuff experience. I disagree with that, man. I own 6 Xboxes in the house. I have one on every TV, so when friends come over, we can all play, or sometimes I move to different rooms because of circumstances and play. I mean, I've never, ever noticed that. So I think that's maybe something you're experiencing individually. I've never come out of an 8-hour gaming session and gone, oh, my dashboard's really laggy. So that could just be an issue with the SSD in your device specifically, in my opinion.
I haven't had this issue as well, but I have to say that I had more issues in terms with the Xbox, in terms of starting it up, getting the right thing than the PlayStation. I mean, remember this, you start up the PlayStation, it starts in 640 by 480 suddenly resolution, because for whatever reason, then you have to restart again. I never had this issue with the PlayStation ever.
That happened at my house, remember, when you were here?
Yeah, which is absolutely weird. This is happening a lot. I don't know why.
It's only on one Xbox, though, I'll say. It's only one Xbox. It always happens. I think it's an issue.
In terms of, I never had an issue with the dashboard. I mean, both systems crashed on me at some point,
Yeah, of course. Here we go, Marcus. Should Phase 23 BKNY upgrade upgrade to a G5 from a G4?
You have the money? Then do it.
Great answer. Yeah.
Really, I don't. If again, that's your hobby. If you have the money to spend, go for it. If you're on a budget and you don't know how to feed your family next month, better not.
That's probably the best answer you could probably give someone. Like, I'm no disrespect to that question, but I actually think that's a very silly question. Because look, I admit I got tied up in the hype. I've got a G4 and I was thinking about going to a G5, and then I thought, look at how much money I have to pay for that upgrade. It's silly. But you asked the exact right question. Is money no option? If so, absolutely. If money is an object, if money is no object, if money is an object, I think you are basically paying a big premium for a very small improvement.
So I think what would make sense is get a bigger size, because the improvement is gonna be for sure. So if you have 77, then go 83 and spend even more money.
What do I do?
Even more, yeah, but I agree with Ariel. This would be so you go from the G4 to the G5 plus a bigger size. I mean, that's how it should be, but yeah. Dagny, okay, tried resetting Series X several times, but still lags when you actually get down to playing with friends. Never had an issue. I mean, honestly, I'm not experiencing this. Sometimes, I have friends over and we all play on Xbox, not on PlayStation 5, and in terms of lag or whatever, never a problem, honestly. Never a problem.
Yeah. I think you might just have a problem specifically to that console, man. Sometimes there's issues with the hard drive, the storage. That just sounds like it could be a
Is
SSD
it fully loaded,
issue.
Maybe?
Yeah, when my hard drive fills up all the way, my internal storage, sometimes I notice like things stop moving very quickly. But yeah, I think it may be just an isolated issue, man. I've never really heard that before.
So let me answer this.
Sure. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
You want? Okay, so Jimmy Harrison, gaming tech. Do you think the PlayStation 5 Pro will have a legit FSR 4? AC Shadows does look pretty good so far on the Pro. I don't know how. I think so. FSR 4 is also just, correct me if I'm wrong, software regulated.
No, I think they are using new. So hardware
some
is
hardware
required. Because
so
AMD,
not?
AMD has been big on. Oh, that's not right for gamers. It has to work on all GPUs. And now they come with FSR 4 and they are like, oh, no, it's only for the latest GPUs. Yeah. And it seems like they cannot do it for all
But
GPUs.
Is it, I mean, you can restrict this with software also, it doesn't mean that you require the hardware actually for that. That's a big question.
Yeah,
but I mean,
if it runs
honestly,
at 10 frames, it doesn't.
But honestly, I would hope that Sony is working on their PSSR implementation instead of. I mean, I hope they're working in the background and they're using this more often, because we have seen that in some games, with early PSSR it was a nightmare, honestly. But later games with a newer PSSR, whatever version or whatever, it looks pretty good actually.
Yeah, PSSR should improve. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So. Will you make more videos on VR when you get the 5090, especially VR mods for existing PC games? I will definitely. You see, I'm talking about long term. After the 5090, I have no money for anything else. Okay. So I'm talking long term. After 5090, I am thinking on a VR headset, but we're talking about a $2,000 VR headset. I'm not getting like a lower end one. I want to get the best of the best if I can. Of course, I mean the best of the best is like crazy money, but the best I can. And then I also want to get the 9800X 3D. So hopefully we can get some help, some review samples and stuff to help, because after a 5090 I have no more money. So I want to get into VR, but one of the reasons why I didn't make more videos about VR is because the mods for VR are not free, and I am never going to promote a mod that you have to pay money for unless it is a Steam app or something like that. I will not promote paid mods. So that's the problem with VR gaming. A lot of these mods you have to pay, and I'm not. I don't like. Have you ever seen on my videos a link to like an affiliate link or something? You haven't, because I've never done it. I will do it eventually, but what I'm thinking when it comes to affiliate links is like, if you want to support the channel, just click the link and buy whatever you want. That's because basically when you click the affiliate link to go to Amazon, you can buy whatever, and I would get help. So if you need to buy something anyway, it's not gonna cost you anything extra, and you're giving me some money instead of all the money to Amazon. So I think that makes sense. But for me to do a monitor review and tell you click the link and I will get paid for it, has to be after I tested more, and I know for sure, okay, this is the one to get, because if I only tested one, I have no frame of reference. So I don't know if that's a good recommendation, if it will be the best recommendation.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to promote things that are paid, basically.
So I can't pronounce this name. I'm very sorry for that. But the question is, does your LG G4 making popping noises? No, it does not. I hope it never does. If this is the case with you, what do you mean with popping noises? So is it...
Like, pa, pa.
Yeah, no, that's not good. Something is wrong.
I mean, when you turn it off, maybe you hear puck. Yeah, that's normal. Like,
yeah, that's the relay, but that's not popping. That's a click.
Click,
you know what I mean? That's a click. That's not popping noise. You know, popping noise doesn't sound good at all. And I remember from my electrical study or whatever, popping noises are resistors and stuff like that, which are maybe failing at some point. But that's that's not good.
Yeah. Jimmy Harrison is back in the house. So question for Marcus, do you think that FSR4 will be legitimate on the PS5 Pro? I'm very happy with Assassin's Creed Shadows graphics so far.
But we had this already, huh? And I said, I hope, was it a different one? But
it's just a new comment.
Okay, no, but because I was hoping that actually PlayStation 5 is improving PSSR. FSR is fine. I think we had this already, because we talked about FSR, and if we need actually the latest AMD hardware for it, if there's really a hardware restriction on it, because if yes, then we will not see it on a PlayStation 5 Pro. That's the thing. But I would rather see PSSR involving actually, than FSR on the console, honestly.
So Marcus, should I be buying a PS5 Pro?
Like, you have the money?
I do have the money, but it's not the point.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, for me, I have good quality TVs, so I will be taking advantage of it in that respect. But is that something is a must-have? Is it a must-have?
About the games.
I mean, I think you should either get that or get a high-end PC. If I was you, I would definitely get a high-end PC, because you are aiming for the best of the best, 83-inch, the best TV. To see that, you need a high-end gaming PC.
Yeah,
so I would go for it.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about that the other day, and I was considering getting a PC, but the way things are with the 5090s, I'm thinking maybe in, say, 6 months or however long it takes for stock to actually be available, that's when I will probably go, okay, there's one there, I can buy it today and have it in a week. that's when I'll say, hey boys, I'm going to build something, give me a hand, tell me what I should be getting, if that makes sense. Because right now, why am I going to go down that stressful hole of, there's nothing available. I'll just be freaking out all the time.
But I see it from a different point as well. I mean, I fully agree with Ariel. You like to have the best of the best, you need to go PC. Full stop. That's how it is. But we always forget about the user-friendly cases. And that's where a console is just so much better compared to a PC. Especially Windows PC is terrible, actually. With all the updates, this doesn't work. You need this, you need this. In terms of plug and play, console. Okay, if you don't want to bother, you just get a console. Because honestly, to see the difference between a PlayStation 5 Horizon Forbidden West and the PC version, it's not that big as you would think. You know what I mean? Of course, Assassin's Creed Shadows on my 4080 looks really nice because you don't. I mentioned this, I think, in one of my videos. There's a lot of shimmering actually and flickering on the console version, on all the console version, which I don't like. It's not there on the PC version, obviously, because you use a much higher resolution. But it comes with a price. That's the point, you know. And you have to tweak it, and then, oh my god, you know, it's up to you.
I really think there's a missed opportunity. Consoles like Sony have proven that, at least in Australia, $1,200 for a PS5 Pro, people are willing to spend that. Like, in my opinion, maybe I'm one of the small minority. Correct me if you disagree, but I would be very happy to pay $2,000 for a high-end Xbox. Give me something with like a 5070 equivalent performance in there. I don't know if it costs more. I would happily spend $3,000 to get a PC level performance experience in a console form factor where it's the same interface, it's the same kind of headache-free updates. And do you know what I'm saying?
But I think it will happen at some point. I think it's inevitable.
But
not from Microsoft,
the thing is, you get a PC experience with the PlayStation 5 Pro or the Xbox. We just need to stop forcing 4K and stuff like that. You know what I mean? That's how it is. If you buy a PC with the same performance, you get the same performance. I don't know what people always expecting from a $700 console compared to a $5,000 PC. I don't understand this. It's not the same. It's not the same, you know. We need to get rid of this 4K whatever resolution and stuff like that. Do a proper 1080 or 1440p picture like in Indiana Jones. Honestly, the Xbox version looks fantastic. Of course, the PC version with path tracing or whatever looks better. But hey, it's hardly playable on my 4080. You know what I mean?
The problem is they've set the expectations too high. Imagine going now to PS6 and they go, oh, it's not 4K anymore, it's 1440p. People will lose their minds. But I genuinely believe that if you could give people a PC level performance console experience for $2,500-3,000 Australian dollars, which is significantly less in American money, but I think a lot of people would happily pay for that. I think that's one of the main reasons holding consoles back is I can see what you guys are saying. It's like you go get a PC, you're spending $3,000 for just a GPU, you know, so it is a huge investment financially, but you are getting insane performance. Why not give people that option to pay $3,000 for a console and get that same performance with that same kind of console? That's what I like is. Obviously, you cannot compete with PC performance and quality, but I just can't stand the drivers, the graphics updates, the Windows. I don't want any of that crap. Just give me an Xbox or a PlayStation dashboard, but give me the performance.
So just quickly circling back to this, if you Google LG for popping, you will find a lot of things on Reddit about it. A lot of people have it. It's from the panel Heat Expansion and Contradiction. Very annoying read about it. I never heard this. I would be very concerned. So my PlayStation is doing this, and this PC sometimes because it's a plastic frame or whatever, and sometimes you hear this crack or whatever because it's expanding or whatever. But honestly, so my G4 is on the wall, it doesn't make any sound. My G2, on the other hand, had this noise from the capacitors and stuff like that, you know, in certain brightness states. This G4 is absolutely quiet. If your screen is popping and stuff, then no, get rid of it. Get something else. Well, get a new one. This is
Let me comment on this one. Hopefully NVIDIA will do a competitor to lossless scaling on every game while offloading the load to second GPU with better input lag better quality than lossless scaling with RTX HDR. NVIDIA smooth motion is nice beginning. I think it will happen, and if it doesn't, NVIDIA is missing out because they could sell you 2 GPUs, instead of 1. Now you need to buy 2. I think dual GPU is so compelling, especially when you are upgrading, because you can keep the old one and make the old GPU do something for you. So if NVIDIA allows for acceleration of frame generation, so basically you turn on frame generation and your base frame rate doesn't change at all. It stays the same, and now you're just doubling or tripling the FPS. That is very compelling. That's amazing. And if NVIDIA can do that and dual GPU comes back, I would be very excited. Actually, one of the recommendations, my feedback to MSI with this power supply that they sent me is that we need another cable, because I believe second GPU right now is relevant. This power supply has only one PCI Express cable because it is designed for the 5090, 5080, which has this 12-pin cable. And I'm like, that's fine. Anyone buying the 1250 watt power supply is because they're getting a 5090. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. So it works for that. But dual GPU is relevant right now because we have lossless scaling, frame generation, because NVIDIA deprecated PhysX. And of course, you don't need a 3080 like I have for PhysX, but that's what I have, and I would use it. And AMD also has actually frame generation supported on the second GPU. So NVIDIA is behind on that regard, and they should do also allow that. And I think it will happen. I think it's inevitable. It will happen.
Question from Beam Me Up, Scotty says, yes, I'd rather pay $1,000 to $1,500, I'm assuming that's USD, for a console-only experience at high frame rates. So, yeah, it's good to see others are also interested in that, because I think console gamers can't deny the PC is vastly superior in every way, but it is also vastly more complicated and more expensive. And I do feel if consoles are making their box at an economy of scale, so imagine somebody builds a single PC build tens of millions of times, obviously there's going to be a price reduction for that kind of scale of purchasing, which could hopefully be passed on to the customer. As we know, consoles are notoriously sold at a loss, and then they recuperate their money on sales of games over time. But yeah, like the more I hang out with you two guys, and particularly Ariel, the way he kind of his videos and PC gaming, it's very hard not to see, man, I'm really behind in like just the modern games are very, very left behind on consoles. What can we do to bridge that gap?
But let me tell you something. There's an elephant in the room here when we talk about console or PC and price and how expensive it is. I have to say, I believe most PC gamers do not pay a single dollar for games. That's a reality. And you might not be that one because you're used to, you don't want to get in trouble, being downloading games from
piracy.
the desktop free version. Okay. But if you think about it, console gaming could be more expensive than PC. If you own 100 games that you paid at $60, that is $6,000. You could buy a PC for $3,000 or less and not pay a single dollar for any game. And there's a lot of people who do that. And I come from Cuba. I am not a, how can I say? I'm not estranged to that. The only games that I play in Cuba, they were all pirate. There was no way to buy games. And there's also people who have high-end gaming PCs in other countries where they might not have access to buy games anyway. So that's a reality. So when you might think it's crazy to spend $5,000 on a PC just to have free games, but there's a lot of people who do the math and they're like, yeah, that makes more sense.
There's a lot of truth behind this, but then we're going into the direction where you have to know stuff, where you have to live with broken games because no patches and stuff like that. So, and I think if you're saying you never downloaded something or pirated something, you're lying. full stop. Okay, because everybody has done this, and I don't know. I have done this. Bloody hell, back then in my 16, 17, 18. But it was full of crap. And I don't have time anymore. And so luckily I have now the possibility to buy a game if I like one. You know what I mean? I don't want to bother with downloading something. Hopefully there's no virus. Hopefully I'm not getting catched. How
viruses.
do I update the game and stuff like that? No, I get this.
That was my
cheap.
follow-up comment.
It comes with a big
In the past, when I used to PC game, and this is a long time ago, you'd pirate things. There was always like a secret Trojan or something, or the crack had a virus in it. The CD key generator had a virus or something in the background. So there are a lot of headaches. But as I said, like I'm not like disagreeing with you, Ariel. But for me personally, like, man, if you ever came to my house, you would see, pick a room. What do you want? 100-inch TV? You want an 83-inch C1? You want an 83-inch G4? There's nothing better than just sitting on the couch with that controller and just enjoying. It's just a different experience. It's not better. It's just different. But I would love to see that PC quality performance on those displays. Like you're right. Like you cannot beat a PC. But man, like the headaches you have gone through to try and get a 5090 is just mind-boggling. This has been going on way too long.
Not only that, sometimes you have issues like blue screens. I've been getting blue screens for like 2 months.
Or fans back to front.
Yeah, I mean that was
That's not a software thing.
The blue screens, they were a problem for sure, and they still are. So that PC game it can be a hassle, but it's what it is.
Okay, so let me try to answer this question from Gichia Como. Sorry for not pronouncing this in the correct way. Why are you just considering the 5090? It's full of great GPUs out there, from 7900 XTX to the newest 9. Yeah, you're absolutely correct. So we're just talking about the 5090 because it's the 5090. Okay, because we are nerds. And also on top, I'm a content creator, and as a content creator, I would never go AMD. If I build a PC for anyone, just for gaming, I would consider AMD because of the price performance, because it's just better.
The 9070 XT is very compelling.
Absolutely.
I mean, $600. If you can get it for $600, I think it's great. You get almost 50-80 performance sometimes. I mean, $600.
Or even better in some games.
Yeah. So
let me just have a look. Do we have actually? So we have. Let's look at 5070 Ti here in Australia, $2,000. Okay, 5070 Ti, $2,000 Australian dollars. 9070 XT, starting at $1,300. So there's no question. You know what I mean? There's no question. Why would I build a PC if I just want to play with NVIDIA? Just because of DLSS and frame gen? No point. Sorry.
Just quickly, just circling back to a topic we were discussing before, say the potential of having a gaming console with PC level performance. Ariel is right. The games are able to be pirated on a PC, or in general, if you are purchasing legitimately, they are cheaper than consoles, right? So you can go and buy a modern game on a PC for a lot cheaper legitimately on a PC. So that raises the question in my mind, why wouldn't Sony or Microsoft bring out a $2,000 gaming console, sell it at a loss, and then instead of them buying $60 games on a PC, they're paying $120 games for the same game on the console, and they will recuperate that money back very quickly because you're locked in. There's no options.
Exactly.
You have to buy through their store.
So imagine a PC that would cost you $3,000. Imagine if Xbox is $2,000. It's exactly the same performance. But now you're locked. You have to buy the games. I think that makes sense. And it is very compelling. It would be very compelling.
See, again, I have problems already with a $1,200 PlayStation 5 Pro.
Yeah, but it's not PC level performance. If the PS5 Pro was a PC level
performance, if you're considering the same PC level.
Yeah, I guess so. But I guess what we're saying is like the PC is just so far in front. You're looking at 5090 cards that just make PCs look like consoles look like they're 5 years behind.
Yeah, again, but a 5090 here in Australia is starting at $5,000.
I get it, but
Just
couldn't
a
we get
cheap
a
tool.
5070 level or a 4090 level
No,
console?
no,
Give me one,
because
Marcus.
it's too expensive.
Stop being hard to get. Just give it to me. Just give it.
No, I
No,
think-
I'm a facts guy.
You know, I know the prices with the US dollars. So I think a 5070 Ti even PC like Xbox for $2,000 should be possible, and it makes sense. And I think people like Adam who have big high-end TVs, that's exactly what they need. Because they don't want to, like Adam is saying, I don't want a PC, have to be messing around with this and that. Yes, I will pay more, but I don't want the hassle. So that's for you. And it
Give
makes
me a
sense.
little box that I can just slot into a corner and I never have to look at anymore. I don't have to touch it. I don't have to upgrade it. I don't have to plug in a keyboard, a mouse, all this crap. You know what I mean? Just give me that little appliance. I just want a toaster where I just press an appliance. That's it, you know, where it just works.
Would we be happy with, let's say, if the PlayStation 6 is going to be released with like a base version, and then we have the ultra version, which is 5 times stronger but cost 4 times more? Would we be happy with this? And we would have the same issues what we have now with the Xbox Series S and Xbox Series X? Nah.
Well, let me answer this.
We'll
question
circle back to
before
that just
we
because
go.
this is this is relevant to our topic. So to Adam, games on PC are only cheaper if you look at digital copies. Physical console copies are always cheaper than digital PC games, not to mention resale value plus used market. Is that true? I thought PC games are just cheaper in general, even
It
physical
depends what
copies.
games. Monster Hunter is a very great example. It's just expensive everywhere.
I think if you wait long enough, do you have Epic Games, free Epic Games, games on console too?
No.
Okay,
Not that
well,
I'm
that's a
aware
big
of.
one because
No.
on Epic Games, I have a lot of free games that
I know.
are great.
I know.
Fantastic games.
I know. That's I agree with you. If we're looking at this point of view, you know, and so I mean, first of all, if you like to have the best of the best, go with PC. Go with a 5090. There's no doubt about that. You need to have the money, obviously.
Yeah.
But if we're now talking about, hey, I spent, let's say, $1,200 for a PlayStation 5 Pro, or I spent $1,200 for a PC, it's probably better to go with the PC because on a long term, first of all, you can do much more things, and the games are cheaper.
Yeah, I think Ariel hit the nail on the head. I'm sure there are plenty of people out there like me that maybe have big TVs, whether they're high-end or low-end TVs, but they have big screen displays. They want to have that PC level performance, but don't want to go out and buy a PC. Because I've been to some friends' houses and they have a gaming PC in their living room. And I just think it's so janky. You know, they've got a big, ugly keyboard and mouse on their couch. And every time they have to sit down, they're going to boot up Windows. They're going to log into Steam. Oh, there's an update. There's a patch. There's this. Oh, Windows wants an update. I'm like, man.
Quick off topic. I have seen a video where this guy integrates all the PC parts in cupboards, you know, you can't see shit. You know, I mean, it's possible because instead of a case, you're just using whatever and the cables are the same. But this is something I fully agree with you. I don't want to have this ugly box next to me. And I'm not an RGB fan anyway.
Well,
it's
crap.
Maybe there's an argument to be had where a new operating system.
I'm looking at it right now.
I mean, maybe it looks good. Sorry, it looks good. But I don't want to have this next to my TV.
No, I turn it off. The RGB, I turn it off completely for actually playing games.
It looks good to show something off. If you have a live stream, you're doing a video, and you have something in the background like the screensaver and some lights around the TV, which I have. Fine, but not when I'm actually playing or watching.
No, of course not. I'll turn it off. But the honeymoon is still on, and I'm looking at it. I'm like, man.
The fans are all the right direction, really?
Yeah, they are going in the right direction this time. Let me answer this from George. Thank you very much. He says, he's asking if anyone tried NVIDIA smooth motion, you know, frame generation with RTX HDR. It should work.
Never heard of it.
That's a good question.
What is smooth
motion? I think it should work.
Actually?
Have you tried it? I mean, frame gen.
No. Oh, no. I mean, yes, I have. But why it wouldn't work? Why it wouldn't work?
Because lossless scaling doesn't work. So maybe he's wondering if it would work with NVIDIA frame generation, and it does work. RTX HDR. Can you turn on frame generation?
I don't understand why it shouldn't work because it's a filter. I don't understand what the restriction would be.
So
but again,
it doesn't work with the program lossless scaling frame generation. So he's wondering once he gets, because he wants to get a 5090. Once he gets a 5090, he's wondering if MFG works with RTX HDR.
Good question. Yeah,
I believe so.
I can't see why not. It would be a software limitation, nothing else.
So Michael is asking me, thank you very much for super chat. So asking me which CPU and motherboard I have right now. With a new PC, I have the same. I am planning to get the 9800X 3D with a new motherboard. For now, I have the same 5800X 3D and an X570 Asus TUF Evo Plus, I think, motherboard. The Wi-Fi Plus, I think, is the model. So that's what I currently have.
So I like to mention that we're reaching 2 hours, and that's actually the point where we're stopping streaming. But we have such a great flow. But maybe a couple more comments, and then we come to an end, if you agree, guys.
Sure.
Yeah,
let's go.
So this Dagny, like we don't have old games available anywhere on console, and many not even available on PC stores officially. You want to play old GTA games before you were born, like GTA, etc. You have no choice. Yes, correct. But I mean, talking about old games, we don't have to play all the new games all the time. That's a good thing, you know what I mean? There are so many older games, and I'm not talking about 20-year-old games, but older games which are absolutely fantastic, and I never played them, you know? So we don't need to play always the latest games, but
by the way, I wanted to see if we could play, I'm gonna buy the Elden Ring Night Realm. I forgot the.
Oh, okay.
This new Elden Ring game coming out. We could play all of us, all 3 of us.
Elden Ring.
A session. The thing is, we cannot use StreamYard for that because it's gonna look like crap.
Yes.
We would have to use OBS. So, I mean, I'll see if we can figure out a way. I think it would be great. Not sure if you like that game,
but why Elden Ring? You know, you want to play the game. You will just see me dying all the time.
I mean, I think it's gonna be very fun. That game is difficult, very tough. Yeah, Night Rain. Yeah.
I mean, look, this is actually a good idea. I mean, if so, obviously we're restricted. I mean, we're not restricted, but Ariel is restricted to PC, which doesn't. We have multi-platform games or cross-gen games. You know, it shouldn't be a problem. Crossplay, yes, correct. But I don't know if Elden Ring is one of them, honestly. But there are millions of crossplay games, you know, which we can try. I mean, that's probably something even the audience like to see. Us playing and losing. Well, just me playing and losing.
And maybe even streaming HDR too, like 4K 60 HDR.
Gosh, can we just start trying to get the stream up first?
No crossplay from what I'm looking at Elden Ring.
No.
Negative. Comment says, speaking of PC, have I seen the PC versus console Red Dead Redemption 2 meme where the guy gets blue screen while sweaty? No, I haven't seen that, so I'll go and check that one out. Yeah, I was actually going to ask, so I think we were kind of getting to that point where it was like, you know, I was saying I just wanted an appliance and, you know, this PC level stuff, and I thought maybe the problem is, I know there's a thing called SteamOS. I don't know nothing about it, but if I could build a PC and just put the Xbox OS on that PC, you know, and then get the simplified updates, patches, and everything where it's all done when it's in rest mode, man, maybe that's the difference there. Maybe it's the operating system that's the problem, because I know I cannot be bothered. I don't have time to mess around with Windows and viruses and updates and patches and drivers, and then it's a bad driver, and then you go crazy for a weekend trying to figure out why you're getting blue screens and you don't know what it is. Like that's just for me. I just don't have time for that. So maybe is SteamOS a thing now? Is that like a full native OS where you boot into it and it's just for games?
It doesn't work for NVIDIA. You have to get a 9070 XT. And it does work. You can install that on a PC, but it works for.
But I mean, SteamOS doesn't work for NVIDIA?
No, it only works for AMD. I saw a Linus Tech Tips video about that.
Look, I'm getting a bit of comments back, and look, there are some valid points. You know, people are saying, "Yuck, you make it sound so bad and complicated." It's not, man. Like, you're right. It isn't bad. I just, like, as I said, for me personally, I used to do it for a living, and I got so turned off by fixing things. I get so exhausted when I see it. So you're right. I'm probably exaggerating. So my apologies for that. But playing GTA, that would be fun. You know, does that which GTA is that? What's the latest one?
The first one. You played the first one.
The
GTA
first
5.
one.
Just
I
kidding.
mean, I beat it like 5 times. GTA
What?
5.
You got too much time.
Yeah, every time I
Time to
upgraded
get
the PC or
children,
something,
really.
I beat GTA 5. Maybe I'll do it
Okay.
again with a 15.
I mean, look, there would be. I don't mind playing, you know, instead of but it should be, let's say, so a Sunday or Sunday morning for us in Australia would be good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then we can play something and still answering questions. Why not? I don't mind, you know. But the question is what?
That's true.
should
We'll
we
have
play?
I think Elden Ring is the best.
We'll have to
But
discuss
if
that
it doesn't
offline.
allow crossplay, then Adam would need to get a PC.
I mean,
If there's anything I can play on Mac, maybe I can emulate it. And I know there's like you can use different software on Mac to emulate PC games. I'm happy to do that, man. But a question for me: do I hate those two? Is he referring to you two?
probably. I don't know.
Look, yeah, I apologize if I come across as negative. It's certainly not my intention.
He does not. No. This is absolutely great because you can actually see we have sometimes a complete different mindset on topics, but we discussing on a very, very professional level, in my opinion. So there's no hard feelings, nothing at all.
Yeah,
you know,
and
that's how it is.
That's what I love about these conversations, because we're all coming from such different directions, and even if we disagree, we're disagreeing with valid points and concerns. And you know, I'm not trying to upset anyone. If I come across that way, I certainly apologize. It's not my intention. But as I said, we're all coming here through the lens of our own lives. You know, everyone has busy lives. We have families, kids, all that kind of stuff. And I guess it's just kind of how we end up with our time. You know, we're all managing YouTube, families, and other things. So it's just personal preferences.
Yeah, no, it's not that easy. Full stop. Oh, Ben Tech Gamer.
Congratulations.
He's getting a 1599.
Oh, well done.
You get a
Congrats, man.
1599.
Or maybe that's why he had to pay for it. $5,000.99. That's about what it cost, actually. If you get a pre-built, actually, Adam, that would be a easier, more likely way to get a 1590, because you need the whole PC. Pre-builds are easier to get because they are like $6,000.
Yeah, I actually did take a page out of your book, Ariel, and I reached out to a Australian PC builder. I'm not going to say who, but we're just in early discussions now to do a bit of a collaboration. But I did the same thing as you. I said, hey, this is my YouTube channel. I'm only a small channel, but you know, I put a lot of effort into my content. I would like to buy a pre-built PC. Happy to pay for it, not looking for anything for free, you know, and kind of said, you know, I want a 5090. This is what I'm looking at. So we're in a bit of a back and forth at the moment. So the one thing that they appreciated was they said, I didn't want anything for free, because people are knocking on their door going, hey, I'll do a video. I'll glaze you over, like you say, and give me a free thing. So they responded and said, you're one of the first YouTubers that have said, want to collaborate, but I'm happy to pay for what I get. So man, I might get a 5090 before you, so then I'll feel guilty. I'll have to rip it out and send it to you, and then when you get yours, you have to send yours to me. So
but
we'll
now,
see,
seriously,
man.
pre-built computers are some of them are on stock. Or you can within 1 week you can get it delivered. At least 5080 is what I saw here in Australia. 5090, different question.
I have reached out to some pre-built companies and I had no answer so far. And my proposition is I pay for the 5090 part. For the rest of the pre-build, I would review it and I can send it back to you if you want. That would be that's my proposition. If you wanna just, I can keep it. That's okay. So I would review your company, your pre-build, the software, like how it is, cable management, everything. And then I'll pay for the 59, which
and
is the most expensive thing.
Fan rotation.
The fan rotation, I would
this never gets old. This will never.
Right away.
Anyway, thank you very much, Ben, again. Let's try this. Can you answer the Danny Kuswag's question? He's been asking them for an hour. I'm trying to find it.
I can't even see it.
Because we have so many comments, actually, it's so hard. And of course, we like to answer all the questions. And I think then we
There
come
it is.
to an
Okay.
end. Oh, this one. Oh, that's a good one. Do you think Atomfall will have a demanding HDR implementation or issues? Yeah, it will have issues as all HDR implementations. Do we do it being a graphical open games compared to SC Shadows? I know it's not out yet. Do you watch Daredevil's show? No, I didn't watch the Daredevil shows. I'm pretty sure it has some HDR issues, as always. If there are major, that's a big question. I hope it has HDR. First of all, I think the release is the 27th of March, if I'm not wrong, coming to Game Pass. Correct? Yes. There's preload already on Game Pass, and I'm looking forward to it because it looks really interesting. This game. I like games like that in an open setup. Looking forward to it. And of course,
does Doom come out? 13 May. Is that out?
Oh,
Doom the Dark Ages? Is that already out?
No, I hope not. Then I would.
Hey,
should
by
do a
the
video.
way, I'm not sure
Oh,
if
May.
you.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. Doom.
Oh,
That
yeah.
engine runs.
Maybe we
very
play Doom.
fast. Yeah,
Oh,
that.
Maybe we play Doom.
If they had a co-op, a campaign co-op, that would be
course they will
next
have.
level,
Come on,
man.
come on.
Okay, so this is one thing. Let me tell you, Ariel. I wish you were local. I would love to get you at my place, crank up the 83-inch G4. I've got
go.
a spastic sound system, Dolby Atmos. Like, man, Doom Dark Ages. It's like game sound to 50, music to 100. I turn that thing up so loud and like a beautiful 4K 120 because Doom is notorious for running really well.
Yeah, it
like
runs
that has
amazing.
a very smooth engine. And that's one thing I will say is like when you have like a beautiful home entertainment setup and you get something with a good game soundtrack, man, like that is next level.
I'm not sure if it's on PlayStation 5 Pro as well. Probably because I was just looking. I was just looking at the Command Center.
Adam
I was
does have
just
a
looking
command
at the
center.
Xbox version. Yeah.
I was gonna say, actually, there was a company that proposed me to send some high-end audio gear, and I'm yeah, that would be great. But it is a $12,000 audio setup, and I have to return it. So I said
That's
no,
the problem.
because here's the problem. I understand I have to return it. I mean, they cannot just give me the $12,000 audio setup. That's a lot of money. But my thing is, what am I going to do after I hear $12,000 and I have to return it back? I cannot buy it. So I'm going to. It's gonna ruin my
Your experience.
experience. So I'm like, no. I told the company, hey, can you send me something that is more reasonable that I can keep, so I have something to fill the void? Then after that, you can start rotating, because this company wanted to send me the $12,000 setup, then send me another one, then send me another one, and keep me rotating so I can share all the entire company
the
lineup.
$12,000 command center.
Yeah, and I'm like,
For sound.
I need something to have, because it would ruin my experience.
I couldn't disagree more on this comment. Sorry for that, but I couldn't disagree more. So sound is so important. Sound is so important, really. So I mean, there's a reason why I'm using this stuff, just and
I think sound is one of those things that you don't care about it until you hear it. So I don't even want to hear $12,000 of sound.
Correct.
See,
no, but
if
look,
I hear that, it's gonna ruin.
My experience with sound is you get a $50,000 sound system. It may sound absolutely crap in your room. It's for most people, it's probably better to get a $1,000 headset, and they have a much better experience than a whatever $50,000 sound system. I'm not joking, because the room where you put the sound system is the most important factor. Full stop.
And that's another thing. I told this company, imagine I understand you send me all this super expensive gear, but I have to change my room around and maybe get some acoustic panels, and and after I do that, if I have to return it, then what am I?
What's the point?
There's no point on that.
In terms of doing reviews on this, it's impossible, because how can you record the sound? I mean, there are microphones out there. Don't get me wrong.
This is a $1,300 microphone I have right here, but still.
But I
I'm
always laugh
listening
when
this on
people
Discord,
do
people
audio
listening this on the
reviews
mic. Yeah,
with a microphone. And it's like,
Yeah.
hang on, so you're sitting in a 5.2.4 and you're recording it on YouTube with a little microphone. Oh,
mono.
this is what it sounds like. I'm like,
No.
okay.
So
Of
it's
course.
no, you can't do it. You can talk about the haptic, the build quality, stuff like that. You know what I mean? But not about the sound quality. It's not possible.
Yeah, and what you were saying about the room is so important because you could have a lower end sound system, but if the room is set up right with acoustic materials and the reflection of the sound is done well, that can make a low end system sound really good. That's like Marcus said, you could throw a $50,000 audio setup into a bad room, it'll sound terrible. So it's a big thing. But when I always get into debates with people, oh, I've got a $2,000 headset, I'm like, man, nothing can beat when you're in a room and playing Doom Eternal with that, because you know they have a really mad heavy metal soundtrack and stuff. When that is cranked and like you can feel the bass in your chest from the subs and you're playing this game, man, I start sweating. I've got like a towel next to me. I'm like going through these battles. It's next level, man. But sound is so important. But it's so typical to see someone that's invested very heavily on like the graphics side or the TV side or the sound side, and then like everything else is left behind. So it's it's very important to maintain a healthy balance between all of them.
Anyway, I hate to do this, but it's 2 hours and 15 minutes, and I have 3 kids here, which they don't need me, but you get my point. No, but it's absolutely great, and I really like this discussions, open-minded. So there's no hate, you know. After that, I will not talk to Adam anymore. No, of course not. Now, it's open, very professional, because everybody has his own opinion, you know.
Yeah.
And the only thing what I always say is I don't need to agree with you. I just need to respect your opinion. That's all what I need to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And if like I said, I'm just trying to reiterate, if I do come across as like being negative or critical, I apologize for that. That's certainly not my intention. I think the best part about these conversations is we are able to disagree with each other. Otherwise, it would be boring if we're all saying the same thing, right? You know, we got to have different opinions, but we also listen to each other and acknowledge and take on what everyone else is saying. So, yeah, I actually really feel like I learn a lot just around these two guys.
Let's do this. Let's do this maybe at the end. Yeah, maybe. I mean, look, I'm happy to show my sound system stuff, which is not a high-end stuff, but I'm happy. And I have the speakers for almost 10 years now. Not planning to return it. But I mean, again, there will be no point to play anything on it because you're watching this on your iPhone screen and say, oh, this sounds okay. So now. But yeah. Okay, so that's it for today, I would say. We had great, so many super chats, by the way. Thank you very much again.
What a great session.
Great setup, Ariel. I like this much better than
How was the sound this time? Was my sound better?
Your microphone is much better, of course, than last time. Of course, I mean.
Okay.
That's
how it sounds good, man. Very good.
Sounds much better, yeah.
What microphone is that?
I mean,
this is the AKG C414, I think. It's a $1,300 reference microphone. So, but it has a lot of settings that I don't know how to use. And StreamYard, it's not gonna show all the quality, but in OBS, it should sound a lot better.
Yeah, no. So the issues what I had with my first videos on iPhone was really sound because I used because this is my setup here, you know, with this microphone, which is so much better than anything else. But yeah, I'm working on that. You know, now microphone is very important. That's why sound is important.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think we'll wrap
any last
up.
wishes from anyone? No? Great stream. Socrates, how are you doing? Thanks all. Probably see you next week. Yeah, absolutely.
If you can just answer this one more question, Adam, and I'll go. What question is that?
Which one?
Did anyone see that? It's from Danny Coolswag. Can anyone see which question he's referring to?
Maybe that one.
Maybe that one. But it doesn't seem like a question. It's more of a statement.
This one
Not
here.
sure. Oh, okay. So, question for Adam: if you're interested in making the most out of your home theater system, I run a Samsung Q900D soundbar and boot up a 4K DVD like Dune, Top Gun Maverick, and it'll blow you away. So interesting. I actually have the Samsung Q950A, which was the flagship soundbar of 2021. So I have a very similar setup with I think it's got 11 channels at the front. I've got the satellite speakers with the forward and upward facing and the sub. I actually have that. And remember, Marcus, that was in the guest house where you were staying at my place, and you actually came over in the morning and said, "Man, that sound system's pretty damn
really good."
Yeah. So I know exactly what you're talking about. It's a very good system. But in my home theater, I have like Bowers and Wilkins towers with its own amplifier, 5.1.4, very high end, like in the tens of thousands of dollars. I don't want to go too much into prices, but I've spent a lot of money on my audio. And man, yeah, music, the audio is just so important. I guess not to rattle on, but when you get picture quality, graphic fidelity, and music all high end, it's just one of those things, like exactly what Ariel said. If you get spoiled too much, it's like saying you've never had an OLED. Somebody gives you an OLED and said, "I'll give it back." You're just like, what do I do now? Where do I go from here?
Money to buy one. That's the thing.
Yeah. So
no, but my recommendation is always, if you don't have the room, if you don't know much about this stuff, go with a proper headset first. That's my recommendation. And then if you like to go this road, think about always spend significant more money on the speakers than on the AV receiver. Because you don't replace these speakers for a very long time. But the AV receiver, most likely every year, if you're tech savvy, because new features whatsoever. But the speaker stays for a very long time.
Absolutely. And just quickly, on the back of that, I will be uploading a video soon. I did a little tour of my home theater gaming room, so that'll be coming out soon. So if you want to stay tuned to my channel, I kind of go through my speaker setup, a receiver, my amplifier, and all that. So that's coming up. But sorry, Ariel, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to answer this. I am looking forward to the CRT simulation working for every game on PC. It's not ready yet. As soon as we have an app that makes that work, you bet I'm gonna make a video about it. So I'll let you know.
And may I just jump in with one last comment? So kind of just asking the community for a bit of help. So Marcus and I did a couple of videos together, and they will be coming out soon. I actually just released one video. I don't know if you guys saw it. It was my kind of I exposed a black market drug market in Australia on my channel. It was a video I put quite a lot of effort into, and it's got like 60 views. So I'm not sure why it performed so poorly, but if you guys would love to do me a solid, please go over to my channel and check out my latest video. I exposed a drug market in Australia. Would love some feedback if why it did so poorly, if maybe it just didn't get attention, or if maybe it wasn't a good video. Please comment if you didn't like it, why you didn't like it, so I can always try to improve. I missed the
links.
No, that's cool. I just always like feedback, even if it's negative, so I can learn and improve.
I missed the links in the description where I can get on, actually.
I might just quickly get the link and paste it if that's cool while I'm
He still doesn't get it. In your videos, there are no links where I can buy the trucks, actually.
Okay. Got it now. Right.
No. It's good. But you're talking about black truck market. Is there also a legal drug market?
I've just pasted it in the chat. So if people would like to go and check it out, as I said, if you do like it or don't like it, I'd love to hear comments and feedback, because I do put quite a lot of time and money into these videos. So feedback. Sorry, don't mean to e-beg, but I always like to hear from the community.
Try to upload more. See, I think you're trying to do too high quality. Try to
do what we do.
If you wanna do the high quality videos, that work on them. But in between, you need more content, because YouTube, the algorithm, the way it works,
that's the problem,
is they punish you if you don't upload. You have to keep going.
Absolutely.
You have to think about YouTube as YouTube never sleeps, because we have people watching us all over the world. If you are 24/7 on YouTube, you will always have audience.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Absolutely.
The more,
I just
the
bought a
more you
new
upload,
camera
the better.
as well. I think I showed you in our offline chat. So that's kind of my intention to set this camera up. I'm going to do a bit more OBS style where I'll just talk about topics that are coming up through the week and just do more disposable videos and then throw my high quality ones in between. But yeah, it's a little bit disappointing sometimes when you spend a lot of money and time making a video and then it gets under 100 views and you're like, oh, okay, maybe I'm not that interesting. So yeah, I'm just trying to have a bit of fun with it for now. But yeah, if anyone wants to check it out, please, I'd really appreciate it.
Okay, that's it for today, I would say. Perfect.
Awesome.
Thank you very
Absolutely
much.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay,
For the stream,
guys.
enjoy it.
Yeah,
exactly.
and actually, I just want to say thank you for all the comments. What a great community we've got here. All these amazing questions kept us rolling for almost 2.5 hours, which is a first. So that's pretty cool. So thank you very much to the community. What a great session.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Really great. So many well organized, and no bad words and mouse. No, that's all good. Perfect. I love it. I really love it. Okay, guys.
Absolutely. Okay.
See you-
Well, until
see you
the next time, huh?
next week, huh? Okay. See you guys.
See you guys.
Have a good one.